Keshe Foundation, an independent, non-profit, non-religious, space-based organization founded by nuclear engineer Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, is introducing to humanity the science of the universe, plasma science. Keshe Foundation develops universal knowledge in space technologies that provide solutions to major global problems, revolutionizing agriculture, health, energy, transportation, materials, and more. The application of plasma science in the form of specially developed plasma reactors and other devices will give humanity the real freedom to travel in deep space. Plasma science exists throughout the whole universe. It is here and it belongs to you. Our knowledge, research, and development regarding the plasma structure has progressed to the point of enabling everyone to participate in the process. Become a creator and understand the work of the universe for the good of humankind on this planet as well as in space. The use of megravs, nanomaterials, GANs, liquid plasma, field plasma, and other plasma technologies have come as a new dawn for humanity to progress and work in harmony with the universe. Conventional technology applications are wasteful, damaging, and cause pollution to the planet and all living beings. Plasma science provides solutions and improves existing methods and use of resources in all aspects that touch the lives of all beings. Plasma is defined by the Foundation as an entire content of fields which accumulate and create matter and is not defined by its physical characteristics like ionization or temperature. Also, with plasma science, we understand how we can convert matter back to the fields. Quoting from Mr. Keshe, MEGRAV stands for magnetic gravitational, which means plasma absorbs or gives. And every plasma has the both. It has give and it has take. And when they can't find the balance, they distance themselves until they find the balance they can give to the others, that they can receive what they want to receive and give further. Certain atoms and molecules release and absorb magnetic or gravitational fields. Released fields are available to be absorbed by other objects. The Keshe Foundation has developed a way to gather these free-flowing fields from the environment within a resourceful and beneficial new state of transitional matter, which M.T. Keshe named GANs. The first step of the process of the formation of various basic types of GANs is nano-coating metals. This is carried out either chemically by etching, steam coating with sodium hydroxide, or thermally by heating, fire coating by gas burner. During either coating process, gaps between outermost layers of atoms are created. The residual coating is often referred to as nano-coating, defined by the structured layers of nanomaterial, which build up during the creation process of the coating. Nano-coated metal in interaction with other various metal plates in a saltwater solution creates MEGRAV fields. These fields then attract available elements to form a specific GANs, which collects and settles at the bottom of the container. This GANs is formed from independent energized molecules like little suns that can be used in various applications.
The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to medical doctors of any practice and specialty to apply to the Foundation's private weekly medical teaching workshop. This includes medical doctors, dentists, and veterinarians. Scientists of the Keshe Foundation developed different types of plasma therapies and cures that utilize advanced, non-invasive plasma technology. The weekly private medical teaching workshop educates doctors to the plasma science behind the therapies, along with the functionality and operation of revolutionary plasma medical devices. The goal of the private teachings is to add plasma health knowledge to the profound knowledge of medical doctors. The weekly class is broadcast live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central European Time. Presently, the class is only offered in English. However, you are free to bring a translator to the class. If you can't participate in the live broadcast, you can watch them later at your convenience through a private internet portal. Every patient's case that is discussed in the workshop will be kept anonymous and private. This includes cataloged findings and data gained from the analysis of the patient's health issues. Any medical doctor in the world who wants to participate can do so by sending an email to doctors@spaceshipinstitute.org. In your email, please state your willingness to participate in the medical teaching workshop. If you're planning on bringing a translator to the workshop, please state this in your email as well. After we receive your email, we will contact you with the instructions on how to apply to the workshop. As a part of the application process, applicants who apply, including any translators brought into the workshop, will be required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. All applicants will be required to provide proof of their education and ability to practice medicine, and will also be required to pass an extensive security background check before they are granted access to the teaching workshop. Healthful plasma technology is here, now, the use of which is increasing exponentially on a day-to-day basis on every continent. We encourage you to come and learn about this revolutionary technology. Apply today. The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to experienced farmers, agricultural specialists, and researchers to apply to the Foundation's private weekly agriculture teaching workshops. If you fall into one of these categories and are interested in plasma technology integration into agriculture, you're invited to apply. Scientists and agricultural practitioners of the Keshe Foundation continually develop and apply new methods of food and fiber production, soil fertility management, plant and livestock health management, and increased farm productivity using the most advanced plasma technology that is taught at the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. In the teaching workshop, you'll learn the science of plasma technology and its applications in the field of agriculture for enhanced and equitable global food production while minimizing costs and external inputs. Practicing farmers and Keshe Foundation scientists will demonstrate their application of plasma technology in agriculture and the ensuing results of such applications, thus deepening and enriching learning for all participants in the private teachings. Participants are encouraged to demonstrate their farming practices in the teaching workshop. The private teachings are broadcast in English live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central European Time. If necessary, you may bring a translator to the workshop. All applications are required to provide proof of their education and professional qualifications, must pass a security background check, and are required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. Translators that attend must also pass a security check and sign the World Peace Treaty. For details on how to join the private teachings in agriculture, send an email to agriculture@kfssi.org stating that you'd like to participate. Include in the email your education and agricultural experience and reasons for your interest in plasma technology. Applicants will be contacted with further instructions and details on the application process.
Welcome, everyone, to the 177th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute for Thursday, June 22nd, 2017. And as usual, we'll be listening to Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And I understand he'll be discussing more about the progress of the Blueprint for Peace and possibly some news from Ghana and other world locations. I believe you're there, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to go now?
Yes, good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these Knowledge Seekers programs. Thank you very much for everybody in background who's working so hard to get these teachings out and in so many ways. We'll see what we can add to the knowledge today. There are a couple of points which is essential to correct. It's come to the attention of procedure, making of gases and nanomaterials. In some teachings, especially to the Chinese community, Farhad has taught in his teachings that you add aluminium to your caustic when you're producing gas material. This is totally wrong. I do not know where this idea has come from. You cannot do such a thing. A gas has to be made, the nanomaterial has to be made exactly the way we have given instructions from the beginning in a blueprint. On the other hand, some people have started using gases in production where they use again caustic in the production of the gas. This is not acceptable unless you know what you're doing, and the water, the gas has to be washed thoroughly so much that there is no trace of the caustic in the water. Otherwise, when you test or you use the water, it will be toxic. These are the points which are important, and it has to be understood. The procedure we are given in the blueprint regarding production of nanomaterial and gas has to be followed literally word by word, and that gives you a non-toxic, direct, exactly correct gas materials. Those of people who, especially what is coming light past 2-3 days, that they followed what has come out of Germany, that they put aluminium in the caustic. This cannot be done under no circumstances. All the work of the Keshe Foundation is based on what we put on the blueprints, and we correct it. If it's not on the blueprint, do not follow. People follow their own ways, and if you want to do it, it's upon you in what you achieve. As we said, we can develop different ways, as many possible ways, but the way we have set out the development is how it is and how the safe it is, and we have tested it, and we know that we can follow the procedure. Following last week's blueprint for Islamic or Muslims across the world, there has been a discussion in the Earth Council, in the Universal Council, in how to approach it and how they can bring it. They have some understanding that next week, as we go through the process of the teaching, they will submit a new understanding. As I understand, if there is any member of the council on the board who would like to explain what is an insight to it till the papers are ready. Is there anyone who wants to share thoughts with us following your meeting yesterday? Do you see any member of the council in the background? Hello? Can you hear me?
No? Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. I'll remind the attendees, if there is a member of the council there, they can raise their hand and I can promote you to a panelist. And oops, somebody has raised their hand. Paul, okay. So perhaps, is Paul, are you a member of the panel? Would you like to say something, if so? Or was, there he is.
Good morning, it's Caroline.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi, good morning, everybody. We had a very nice meeting yesterday with the Universal Council, and the topic was expanded more and more on how to achieve and work with the peace blueprint. And we have discussed that or come to understanding by mutual sharing information one to another, and the input from the language members which are connected to their culture, specific on the Arabic language, that we have come to realize that the majority, it doesn't matter if they're Sunnis or Shias, that they are all living in peace across the planet. They are even intermarried. They treat each other like friends, like brothers, like sisters. I posted a short video about the Ramadan, which is about to be finished now in the next few days. And if we go and we concentrate on the majority which carry in the correct name the faith which they have been taught with the right conduct, and be peaceful and to respect each other and to support each other and love each other, which was all the message from all the previous prophets ever came to this humanity, as we say. When we concentrate our love and our care, and we increase that love and care to the soul level, we will always achieve the majority. So the responsible for the language council member of the Arabic, she explained something very nice yesterday, which Mr. Keshe tried a few times to explain, but it didn't click until yesterday, that the Arabic language you cannot just translate exactly. You have to visualize it, you have to interpret it, you have to see the picture of the meaning of the words. And that's where I came to understand when Mr. Keshe said, it is such a rich language and it's not easy to learn and to understand. But in so many ways, we will try to make that letter for it to be a blueprint for every single religion, because it will be a very nice, as we say, a first step to see and how to achieve peace for humanity among all of us, because we are all brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Any other input from any other members of the Council, the Earth Council or the Universal Council? Do we see Dr. Parviz in the background?
Not yet.
Any other members of the Council would like to speak? Dr. Rodriguez, what is the position on the Earth Council regarding this respect? Where we stand? Can you hear me? He is on the panel, we can see him.
If I may, we can add something very beautiful, as we have learned and accumulated from your teachings, Mr. Keshe, is Wayne and Dr. Guata can confirm that it works beautiful if we put our attention and we are working through the Ganses. They have confirmed yesterday that it is working. So thank you, Mr. Keshe.
What is working? Is Dr. Guata in, or Wayne could explain to us?
Hello, good morning, Mr. Keshe. This is Gatua.
Yes, good morning, Dr. Gatua.
Yes, in yesterday's meeting, there was confirmation that during the Rome conference, we had used my guns bottle. So I held my guns and then asked members to hold onto my hands, like imagine they were holding onto my hands, and then we would send a message. And we felt the energy, all of us. So that was confirmed yesterday, that we can send messages using Ganses. And that's it. So people confirmed that they actually did feel the energy go through them when they held onto my hands, which were holding a bottle of Gans. We also did this to transfer. Dr. Klaus had asked that we said Gans to Rome. So I sent mine in that process, the same way I just explained, like remotely. I held it and said that I wish that they received my guns, and they did. It was felt. Thank you very much. That's all I had to explain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any member of the council or Earth Council would like to make any comments? What I think we got to do, we developed this process with Kansas, where we showed the matter can be changed to energy, and in that process of energy we discovered and we understand that our own lives, our soul, our being is made of and is part of the universal energy, or again what you call the plasma fields of the universe. What will be interesting is we have panelists in the background on the Facebook, on the other channels. What is the wishes of people present? What is the wish regarding this respect? In this respect that we look for peace through irrespective of religion, color and race. And we have heard the wishes of the councils, the way they say they want to pattern it. What is the wish piece from our audience, the people who are there, the volunteers, the regular listeners? Is anyone who wants to share the wish piece with the foundation, with the rest of the listeners? If you raise your hand, they allow you to come in and make your wish piece. Rick, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Mr. Keshe, no problem. I'm looking to see if there's any.
John Blewen just raised the hand.
Okay, good. And also, people in the live stream, if you want to type in your wish for peace, then I could read it for you in the chat here. I'm getting some feedback right now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
a bit of a noise in the background, but yes, go ahead.
This is John Bliven. So on Monday, when we did our teaching for the Spaceship Institute, we did a meditation in which we created the GANs of peace. And we created it with the whole class, and we created it with our soul. And we dumped it in the waterways of all of the Middle East, and it was our intent to have it change the energies of the area. And it felt very energetically correct. And it's my wish that we create the GANs of peace with our souls and spread it throughout the world. And it can be done with our imagination. We don't need materials. We only need our intent. That's it.
Rick, I have sent you some pictures from China. That this is what's happened in China last Sunday from 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. They've done this a couple of times, and they have released large amounts of gas water in China. It's from the Shenzhen group, and it's very nice the way they are working to deliver the message or the peace message through the way they see it. It's many of them, and they're doing this a number of times now. It's not, what do you call it, something to do, but it's something to believe in, that we can, as a race, change the course of humanity. It's on your Skype. If you want to share it, Rick, you can show it. Anyone else?
On the Zoom, you mean? I think, is that correct, or on the Skype?
On your Skype, because I have it on the Skype from China.
I thought I got something in the Zoom, but not in the Skype. So I think that's what you mean. I have some pictures of the Chinese in the.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, you're
yeah,
right.
that's it. Okay, let me just get that here.
Is there anybody from the Chinese community online who wants to speak about this?
Yes, Mr. Cash, this is Ruthie.
Hi, Ruthie. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. As I know, it's not a Shenzhen group, but also the Nanning and the Yunnan group. They had organized this kind of activity to pouring gas water into all kinds of lakes, rivers, or something. Yeah. And I know there's more and more, such as environment protection organization. They have a lot of volunteers, and they also send their people go to the what is called a Yuji library in Henan. Yeah, and they are starting to learn how to make gas and to elevate the energy of our planet.
Thank you very much. There's a couple of more pictures, but this is something they do on or happen on a Sunday in China. Is there anybody else in the background who wants to speak or make a comment?
Mark Erb just raised the hand. We promoted him.
Let me translate. 所以在收听的中国朋友，如果你们对于这件就是你们参与了，或者你们知道这个就是氢道
Rudy,
干
you got
丝。
your phone open. Your microphone is open.
I just want
Okay,
to invite the Chinese people to join, because maybe they cannot speak English, but I just translate it to them if they want to speak, and they can raise their hand. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
This is Mark Erb.
Yes, we can you speak louder?
Yes, and I wish for peace on the planet and for us to be able to join the universal community and bring more peace and help and beyond.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? The question is, yes?
I was going to say, there's a comment in the chat by Soraya. My wish is people stop being judgmental. My wish is people start to treat each other respectful and to learn compassion and empathy. Okay, that was from Soraya.
My wish is to use plasma technology to reach and elevate the soul of all the human in this planet and wake up them into enlightenment.
Who's that?
This is Ruthie.
Can you speak louder, please? You're very far.
Okay, my wish is to use this beautiful plasma technology to reach and elevate all the souls in this planet and wake up them and send them to the back source to reach enlightenment.
In so many ways, our wishes has to coincide with the need of time. The need of time today, at this moment, is what we see upcoming in what we call the Islamic world. And that's why we made the blueprint for peace for the Islamic world. In so many ways, as was discussed in the Universal Council yesterday, the Islamic world, the Jewish world, the Christian world lived together in harmony for centuries. The time of the conflict and the separation we see at this extent now comes purely out of physical, economical situation to keep the Western factories going and by it killing more. As I've said before, we have seen what has been reported, a massive arm deal for the Saudi Arabia. For what reason? Nothing but purely paying more Americans, more British workers, more European workers to make more arms for more people to be killed. Isn't time to change the course and pray for the totality of humanity, especially for the Americans, that they understand what they are receiving is blood money. This is not a defense technology money. There is no defense. There's never been conflict for centuries between the Arabs, the Jews and the Christians in the Middle East. Now, since the British and the rest have come in, religion has become tool of war. I come from both backgrounds, the Jewish and the Islamic world. In our house, when there was a gathering, they eat from each other's plate, they thank each other for the joy they bring each other. And now we see the opposite in media, just scaremongering into war. There is no reason for it except arm production, money making for certain people. If the Americans could bring to the front, especially Keshe Foundation supporters, those who work in the armed defense industry, this is a blood money. We stopped diamond, or what we call the blood diamonds, from Sierra Leone. Now it should be called blood arms. Why should other people die because of a few people have the luxury to live? The same factories can be used to develop peaceful applications of every aspect of any technology. I read on the internet past few days somebody objecting that the Keshe Foundation has become political. Peace means getting involved in politics. Peace politic is much joyful than the politic itself. We cannot be, we are developing the tools that replaces arms, and we have to be there to explain, to deliver and to encourage. Peace policy, peace politic is part of the work of the Keshe Foundation. Otherwise, we don't exist. We become another part of what has been for centuries. The technology has to be used in the right way, in the right order, in the right manner, by the followers of the Keshe Foundation to promote peace through exchange for technology. We are in the political peace. We cannot be far away from it. You sign a peace treaty, it means you change your ethos. You sign yourself into developing technologies that it brings peace. Wishes and other things that we do makes us a political movement in the peace movement. We are scientific, poloscientific, geoscientific and geopolitical organization. We have to be, because we are delivering technologies which changes the course of humanity, and with it will change the politics. I have said, and I've sent invitations to the Saudi government officials, to the Iranian officials, let's find a way to talk peace. Let's find a way that we can share what we shared before. The Sunnis and Shias have lived in each other's houses, arms, intermarried, have children which sits on both sides. There are many families across the Arab countries, Arab nations, Arab languages, which one son carries the name on the Shia side and the other son carries the name on the Sunni side. Two brothers, different names from different sides, but should be all one. This is what the purpose of the Keshe Foundation is. Brothers, irrespective of the direction of the thoughts. If you go back to base religion, what we call on the basis of the book and not individuals, as we discussed last time, there shall be no war. The only purpose, as we see, has become Arabs, Muslims have been made deliberately to be the worst thing ever happened. But we live amongst each other, be it in England, be it anywhere else. As we see, as we know, in these recent wars, especially created in the Middle East, what they call the Spring Uprising, no bullet was fired by a single, for example, Libyan. It was all Italian soldiers starting, well, people, mercenaries are called, that they started the whole thing in Libya, and then it became uprising. We've seen the same thing in Iran. During the Iranian Revolution, not a single Iranian killed a single Iranian. It was all done by Palestinians who were brought in, imported mercenaries. No Iranian ever killed another Iranian during the Iranian Revolution. They were paid to come in to create mayhem, and we've seen 40 years we haven't recovered from this, what I call uprising. We've seen the same situation in Syria. All the time, but there's been a conflict in Iran across the different sects of groups of politicians and people. No Iranian has ever killed another Iranian. They were imported Syrian soldiers. This has to stop. Using name of God in killing each other in different sects, in different names. There is a warning for the Christian, and the same with Jews, and the same who incite and instigate war. These will soon come home in Europe. These kind of conflicts, if it's not stopped, Christians will start against Christians, and the same with the others. We've seen this with the Second World War. We'll see this, if it's not stopped, in a very drastic way. Only in Europe. Chinese, Indians are immune from it. This is a children playing games of the childish way, who's better in scoring a goal. And has to stop. We don't see Chinese people involved in it, we don't see Indians involved in it, we don't see most of the South America being involved with it. It's purely geopolitics for less than, let's say, maybe 7 to 10% of the world population. And out of that, the only one who's getting hurt, they're innocent people. No one understands what these things do to people. I am one of them. I left Iran as a student, never could go back. As part of the revolution, when the Palestinians were paid $1 per barrel to kill as many Iranians as they could. That's how the Iranian Revolution happened. Our people were killed directly by Palestinian mercenaries who were shipped in Iran by those who call themselves Armed Revolution. This is how people are ignorant to the facts what happens. In so many ways, we've seen so many Iranians being killed in the hand of the Syrians who came in to be paid so many times more than the Iranian soldiers just to kill and create fear. And now we see the payment for what they've done. Their nation has gone down the same path. What they created in Iran, now they receive themselves. This shall be for Americans and the Europeans soon. You cannot carry on murdering, making tools of murder, and then talk about peace, and then think that's all going to be okay. It's the job of the foundation supporters to enlighten for the others to understand this is the extent where it's going to come back home. You can isolate it for a certain time, but after a time it cannot be done, because as we say, it's in the holy books. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Peace does not come by religion. Peace comes by understanding there should be no war. There should be equality in every section, every part of humanity. We ban terrorists to move. We should ban arm dealers to move. We monitor the communication, what they call terrorists. We should monitor the companies who sell arms and how we can block them. We should monitor those who call defense as an offensive tool to kill. This is where the technology has been misused for humanity, and this is where we come into it. This is where we play the game, because we have the tools. In the coming weeks, if we see the things don't go our way, in the peace way, we will show how disarmament can happen and can take place. Purely in a peaceful way, purely using the technology. Purely using the nations who are backing peace. Financial economical cuts for the nations who support war is the only solution. Boycotting ports, harbors, roads for the nations who produce arms. The nation will turn internally not to produce. The technology is there to do the job. At the same time, not to harm the public. At the same time, to be peaceful. Now, those who incite these wars themselves have to answer to the work. We saw the change many times. I've said, when the Eastern Bloc opened up, the arm factories disappeared. The job never came back. What's the problem? People found new jobs. Arm factories never reopened. We don't need it, unless those who are after whatever in selling arms. It's the job of all of us, if you're listening. They used to say, let's pray for peace. I say a different way. Let's give from our soul, that directly received by those who are in this game to change their ways. We will show a lot that will force peace, and we can deliver a lot that will force peace. My wish is peace, and I spent all my life trying to achieve it. And this time we deliver the technology to do it, and will enforce it. Any other comment?
Mr. Keshe, there's a comment and a question maybe I can relay from the live stream. Get back to it here. Just a second. Dennis says, I wish for all to see others as souls rather than human bodies. My wish is my command. It is done. And then under that, Boniface says, Dennis, thanks and peace to you. My understanding now is that elevated souls can forge the well-being of the creation. How do we elevate souls individually and collectively?
This is part of the teaching we do with motions. Something which was just said. They've been trying to achieve. They've been trying to reach. What you will see, what will stand to elevate the soul is very easy. Is to give at the strength which can be received. The common denominator on this planet is the amino acid. So our wishes are received by somewhere, somehow. Is targeting it to where it should be. how do we do this? How do we give to the people who will change, who will understand? The process is very simple. For those who do not know and cannot understand, it's one of the easiest things to do. Take a picture of who you want to elevate the soul of. You reach, because you have the image, and in that image is like somebody giving you a telephone number. This is the beauty of the present time. This is the beauty of what we understand. You are given a telephone number. You dial it and it reaches. Now you have the face. You know the face matches with exactly the soul if you want to do it. Elevate their souls, they receive it. Many world leaders need it. Many people need it. We see the game of politics, and strange enough, that game of politics has to be a peace politic. So it's for you to do. We have world leaders who incite peace on the front and pay for wars in the back. It's easy to elevate the soul of the man. Nowadays, the education, the internet, the pictures gives you a very direct telephone line. Any other comment?
The West cannot preserve their way of life through war. It's not possible to have peace through war.
It's been sold that way, and it makes a lot of money. Peace has to come through knowledge. Peace has to come through equality of the knowledge and sharing the knowledge, that the soul of the man receives what it needs at the time of its need. Any other comment?
There's a couple of more comments. We have Monique says, everyone is a living, sorry, the chat moved when I was about to say, everyone is a loving, peaceful soul having a physical experience. Some souls mistakenly choose a life out of love. It's time for everyone to come home into a life of love. There's a couple of comments and questions regarding the mass media and Illuminati and so on, and that the idea that people are being controlled, and that seems to be a bit of an issue for some people. Maybe they need to have some direction as far as that goes. They're worried about a new World War III breaking out, for example.
That fear has been on back of us since the end of the Second World War.
Yes, that was Jan's statement. Both the World War I and World War II were planned and designed long before by Freemasons, and it's all well documented. Albert Pike was talking about the coming World War III in the 1870s, apparently. Okay. There's another comment, a comment that we need to reach a critical mass in order to be able to change the course of the current situation.
Yes, that would have been true if we would have understood and been with the process of the matter state. Now that the man knows the state of the soul of the man, there is no critical mass. One mass can change, but it has to be agreed by the others. One soul can bring the change.
Well, that's a good point, because it used to be, like he mentions here, that as long as a certain percent, as long as 95% of the world population are asleep, then the few behind the scenes will manipulate it. But what you're saying is it might only take, well, less than 1%. Maybe 1 out of a million is enough if they have the right intention to change, to actually change the direction of the way things appear to be going.
This
Would
is
that be
what we're
correct?
asking the Keshe Foundation. In a way, yeah, this is what we're asking for the Keshe Foundation supporters to become that 1%. To become the
Right.
changing force. To elevate the soul of the others, that they become one. As many of you know, we have the second court case in Belgium on Monday. Purely this court case is set to put me in prison for 25, 30 years on the fake charges, and then destroy the foundation that the peace movement dies. This is the whole object. All fake setting up, and we've seen the instrument behind it. Mr. Lorenz in there orchestrating police in the court. Who since when can orchestrate police and judge and lawyers? We've seen these people, they have infiltrated us, and for years they blocked the peace to be in move. Now we have moved. Belgium will not touch me. Because it's the wish of the man to bring peace. Because we have seen the dirt that these people create, fake documents, fake allegations, and they've all done this all their life. No one could see till last time in the court that how Mr. Lorenz was orchestrating the police and arm to arm, hand in hand, walking around. When we said, everybody said to us, this is all imagination. We saw the attacks on the internet, and now we've seen hand-to-hand collaboration, work with the police in the court and the rest of it. These people are used to abuse. These people need their souls to be raised up. These people are the instrument of the war. I wish peace for the children of Dirk and the grandchildren, because the father has no peace. These people, by creating mayhem, see their income, see their what I call villas and the rest of it. This is what is lacking. This is what is not there. This is when we said for years, planned murder and everything else, everybody looked at this. Now, this is another war. This is a war by a king, by a court, by a police, set up by themselves against one science. The science which can create peace. But peace will prevail. The technology will prevail because it's growing according to its strength. When we said many times that Mr. Lorenz is part of the structure of the attempted murder and the murder attempts of us and the followers of the foundation, everybody said no. But now you heard last week, people who were present, they tell you he's hand to hand, shoulder to shoulder with the lawyer of the government, with the police officers who do intimidation. This is what it's the way they got used to it. And if we fight back, does not do much. If we raise their souls, in time will do. In time, when they go to sleep, they have to live with their souls. In time, when they are there, they have to understand the children will have to pay for the faults of the fathers. We've seen it with Syria, a man on the 11th floor of a little house, dingy place, is not any bigger than a nation. Go to the court on Monday. You went last time, go this time. Because the judge has seen and the police has seen there are people, there are Keshe Foundation supporters who are there in Belgium. Intimidation will not do. Because now it's very clear. We talk about the war in the Islamic world, we talk about the war in the scientific world. You all have tested the GANs, you have seen the changes in your lives. You have made the magraphs, you have made the ganses, walked away with the cancers or a burn or whatever. The technology is correct, and the correct will prevail, even they push their way in courts. My name shall stay. I brought peace, I brought the tool of peace, I taught peace, and as was said by Mr. Lawrence, I have nothing wrong against the Keshe Foundation, I just have it against Keshe, because I want to be the head of the Keshe Foundation. That's all it is. Then they can divert all the technology into weapon and everything else. We have to understand the war does not start on the battlefield with the guns. The war should start within the soul of the man, for the man to find peace. In the teachings, as we are going and as we are teaching to Mojans, and the teaching is going on, Mojans are achieving the point that they gradually understand the position and the condition. That's why they are here for. The process is to elevate the soul by elevating the soul of the others, that they, their soul, the fields from theirs will elevate me, not me giving, expecting to be elevated. When what we call the selfishness dies within the man, the war shall end. Because the biggest war is between the soul of the man and the physicality of the man, and the fear which comes within the man by the operation of the soul of the man. The soul is so powerful that its fields, by radiating out, physicality cannot accept, cannot comprehend. And we call these fear, we call these wars. The war within the man between the soul and physicality and the emotion is one of the worst. We've seen it. Cancer comes from such a war. When the emotion receives the energy from the soul, which comes from the inner understanding of the strength of the environment of the being, and then it reflects it back as a breast cancer, prostate cancer, and any other cancer. This is what man has to understand. To stop the war with his own physicality, that in the process he can stop war in the others. We call it cancer, we call it any other disease, but these are all come within the conflict, within the structure of the physicality of the man, in not understanding the higher powers which are the creator of the energies of the existence. The soul of the man brings peace to the physicality. Is the emotion which creates the mayhem in transfer of the energy and the knowledge. In space, man will be very, very lucky, as he will not carry the emotion in the direction of physicality as we see with the brain of the man. Then man has no reason to be in conflict with itself, and in that process to be in conflict with its own creation and created. Transparency of the existence, physicality, is the key to the peace. When we are all the time at war in ourselves, within our family, within our city, within our neighborhood, within our nations, and within our planet, how do we expect to find peace? The fundamental peace within the inner sanctum of the body of the man has not been met, and this dilemma will not be solved. How do we solve this situation? With the new technology, we bring everything from the energy for food, for energy for life, for energy for heating, for energy for motion, free. absolutely free. When the man is not worried about where the hunger shall not be, when the man is not worried where the heating, the warmth cannot be, because now he has the knowledge, he can do it himself, it brings peace to the man. Even those who are part and born with aggression, they find no use, no reason for it. When we have a conflict with our family, with our children, with our parents, with our neighbors, with our wife, we have to sort the conflict inside ourselves and then put it across. This is what is bothering me. This is a conflict inside me. You got to answer. You got to help me to find peace within me, that I can bring peace in the house, that I can peace in the family, I can bring peace in the work, I can bring peace in the city and the village and the rest of it. So many of us, we look to elevate when somebody is sick, to help them with zinc oxide, with something else, with the ganses of this and that. One thing which in all the teaching has been missed, we have forgotten to elevate our own soul. What is our need? We are so busy looking over the shoulder to help the others, we have forgotten to stop the biggest war, which is inside ourselves. We throw waters over the rivers, we give ganses to our child which is sick, but we don't understand part of that sickness, the cause of it is us, which has a conflict within us. And it works. You find peace, but at the end, finding peace comes within the house of the man, which is the body of the man. If those of you who are man of conflict start understanding you have the tool of the peace, you can make it yourself. And then find, when you elevated it, you find peace with yourself, and then you find very something interesting, that you become the transparent soul which you always wanted to be. The feeding of the soul of the man is the job of the man. Nobody comes and tells you, darling, you have a headache, unless you don't show you have a headache. No one come and give you ganses or energy to elevate your soul. The problem we had up to now in the world of science, in the world of humanity, we always fed the physicality. We never understood the process of the soul and the elevation of the soul that leads to the creation of physicality. This is where the new technology, the new science comes into operation. This is where we see the operation of the soul of the man. The beauty of it is, when you elevate your own soul through understanding of the correct use and application of the what is free energy, because your soul came from the energy of the universe. It comes from the energy of the solar system, from the energy of the planet. You were not born out of nowhere and suddenly became a being with the soul. Our soul is an interaction of the fields of the universe. It carries the beauty of the universe. It's us who has ignored this to us. We have chosen this path because we could blame everybody else for our own shortcoming. It's time for the man to elevate his own soul. Then we find peace. Then we find motion that we can do. I tell you something, Mr. Lorenz, you never made a single gram, single drop of zinc. You're a very good maker. You made the cubes. You made everything else. Make yourself gallons of zinc, a gallons of CO2. You know exactly what to do. You checked and you wrote the correction of the pictures for it. And then start drinking it. I wonder if you walk into the court on Monday. You know your soul will judge you and you have to live with it. Very easy. I elevate your soul, but you help yourself because you know where the problem sits within you. Then you find out if you walk into the court on Monday. Then you know what wrong you've done. Then you know what you've done, the damage to the foundation in the past year and a half has been nothing out of jealousy, lack of understanding that you are nothing but a writer of patterns which never get accepted. You're nothing but somebody who wants to confirm I exist. You exist, we confirm you exist. We elevate your soul. Now elevate the part that nobody else can reach. My war is not with no one. My war is how to elevate the soul of the humanity. And we see it every day. We see it every day on this planet. Why does somebody go to the extent to damage others? Because the man has sold his soul. Why does the technology stays for 10 years, cannot go anywhere? And when it comes out of Belgium, it reaches millions very rapidly. Institutes, factories, Keshe Foundations, and for 10 years could not be done. We pray for the soldiers and those policemen who walk around in the court of Belgium on Monday with you. You have shown who you are. I don't blame you because that's your job. You were born to show the beauty of the technology, and it's you who have to stand for it. It's you who has to understand what you've done to yourself is your problem, not mine. Those of you who go to court on Monday, take some ganses and let Mr. Lawrence drink it. At least he will not do the same to another man. He's done it to everyone who he's come across. He needs that support. What is interesting, he has stood last time in the court and he says, Mr. Keshe says he's above the court and he can do what he likes and the king is this and that. One thing he didn't tell the court is very simple. I'm the writer of the contract for these medical applications as you claim. If you are in the court, please put it to the judge. This gentleman has signed delivering and giving systems to people receiving money for. We have submitted it to the lawyer. When he stands up, ask him, you did the books, you signed, you wrote the contracts for this. He has to stand in the court as a writer of the contracts. If there is anything wrong with the contracts, which the court says could be wrong, the man who's written it, he has to answer to the court how he's written it. If you're a Keshe Foundation supporter, put it to the judge on Monday. It says processing. This is not health system. Mr. Lawrence, please go to the court and explain you've written the contract for the Keshe Foundation. You are a prime person guaranteeing that what you've written, we have acted on, has been correct. We call on our lawyers to ask you in court, you have to stand next to me in court if what I stand for is correct. You are the writer of the contracts that people have entered into. If there is a scam, you are writer of the scam. You wrote the agreement. No one has been processed outside without a single contract being signed for that. So we asked the court on Monday, you have to answer. You are a co-collaborator the way you've done with the police as a scammer that they put in. You wrote it to become a scam. Now walk to on Monday. If you're a Keshe Foundation supporter, please go to court and ask the court, is there, he's signed. He has received materials, he has received money. We have submitted it to the lawyer on behalf of the Keshe Foundation because he says his contract is not a scam. Let him stand short. And how? There are documents we given to our lawyers that it shows he has received documents from us to write pattern, has no knowledge, he has no clue, and strange enough, the same gentleman who's writing everywhere has signed a 20-year non-disclosure agreement with the foundation. With me personally. The documents are with the lawyer. What do? We hit him? We bash him? No, we raise his soul. Mr. Dirk Laurensens, please walk into the court on Monday and say, I have written this document. You've written it. It's done by you and nobody else but you and your brother who's a lawyer. I'll ask my lawyers for you to stand. You can't sit on the one side and be on the other side. You've written the agreements with the volunteers. You organize the scam as you trying to bring out. You are responsible, prime responsible. We bring it in the European Court of Justice. Very simple. I pray for your soul that you are straight enough as you stood last time in the court claiming everything else is wrong with us. Stand up to the court and stand for what you signed as a contract. As you have given to the people to sign, and as you personally have written every word in that contract. I'll let your soul play with your judgment. The process of understanding is very simple. The process is, as I explained last time, I explained more in detail. We come, we are created out of the rays within the center of the universe. In interaction and reduction in the strength and division by the strength in certain strength fields, in collection of the totality of the expansion of the universe, some energies, some dynamic fields have come together. Over billions of years, these fields lead to the creation of what we call the sun, where the plasma gathers together. The same process repeats again because the sun is the same as the energy center of the universe. Now, the heavier, the larger amount of the energy which is collected in this span of the universe, we call the sun, that irradiates out, does the same thing again, radiates its fields out, and in interaction with the itself, with the fields of itself, leads to creation of planet. In that process of the creation of planet, the same process happens again. In the interaction of the fields of the earth with its environment and cooling and exchange with the strength of the other things in the environment of the space of the solar system, leads to creation of man, cell, matter state. And that itself, in coming together and slowing down in certain ways, as we call, leads to another sun. We call the soul of the man. This is the truth about the life and creation of the man. But if the soul of the man can understand and absorb and be correct with his conduct, he can become the strength of the fields and carry the strength of the field of the planet which came to his creation. And if the soul can understand with the same process, can interact, can be correct, can absorb with itself the totality of the strength of what it needs, it shall become the sun. And then the same soul has the energy that it can absorb within the solar system, within the galaxy, shall become the center of the universe. This happens on earth, we call it the rain. Come from, goes back to. In the solar system, We call it planetary system. We come from the rays, we become the planet, and we go back to the mother. The same thing happens with the galaxies, with the solar systems, which they get absorbed back in and they chewed up back into the universe. The life, the process of existence in the universe is the same. It doesn't matter on what exchange and what extent. So, what is the man fighting for? Why do we fight for something which has come from the point of the creation, and in the process it goes back to the creation? The soul of the man, as the energy of the earth, gives the face of the man, the face of the earth, and that process is the same for the soul of the man. Our soul, in reduction in strength, in interaction with the emotion of the field of environment, leads to manifestation of the existence of the man. But once it's completed, does it need the face? Or can it be and becomes free from it, what we call the soul of the man, to be free and detached from his existence? Our soul is part of the process of the creation. The key to one question for man shall be in the future to be answered. As we saw the sun became the earth, and as we saw the earth became the man's soul, what would be the destiny of the soul of the man now becomes free at the point of departure from physicality? Would it become the sun for creation of another life, or many lives, or correction of lives? This shall be, and this is how it happens. When you create a soul which is not correct, which is misconduct by itself, cannot give, you lead to the creation of this next cycle of creation, which has started the wrong way, the wrong strength. This is one thing the man has never understood. You become the creator of another universe, another cycle. And this is what you have to judge within the structure of the soul of the man. What would I like that cycle to be? In the physical life, we create children. In the dimension of the life of the soul of the man, what that soul will create. If man has thought up to now, that's it, my end, my point, when I die is finished, there's as much fallacy that when the sun is destroyed in any shape or form, there shall be nothing left. But we know the parts of the sun becomes part of the galaxy and becomes part of new life. So shall be the soul of the man. The judgment of the man has to be according to what he sees the future his soul can conduct to be. The day of judgment is for the man, not in front of the Creator. That what my soul judges to be and what shall create. Man never understood and shall never understand till can solve this dilemma within itself. The reality is very, very, very real. And that is, as we've seen, the energy of the galaxy become the sun, the energy of the sun has become the earth, and the energy of the earth has become the soul of the man. So shall be the soul of the man, which is the energy itself, another cycle of life. How can you change when you don't understand? How can you change the process of understanding if you do not understand the process of the creation? Do we need to extend the understanding of the man that what is the future he brings? We care about our children. what education they get, what they wear, how happy they'll be, where they sleep. Now the man has to be careful and consider, what life shall my soul create? Because those are the children of your soul. As we've seen, the rays of the sun has become a planet and 7 million children of it. 7 billion unlimited, which is growing. So the soul of the man will go through the same process. How many billions and subdivisions and sub-matter state of the physicality of the man your soul shall create? Would it be the soul of wars and conflict and forever killing? Or would it be the soul of this, let's say, solar system, which is peaceful? This is the truth and the reality about the soul of the man. First of all, as I said many times recently, we never understood that the soul of the man is within the structure of the man. And now that we understood, we understand on departure from the physicality of the man, the same process will carry on as it did for a star, the planet. And the soul of the man becomes another energy source of a higher order, which itself leads to the creation. It becomes the star, it becomes the center of the new cycle of creation. This is what the human race has to understand. The cycle actually starts from the point of death and not finishes at the point of death. In so many ways, if one understands, is as the dusts, specks of dust came together to make the earth in the solar system, so has the specks of the atoms has come to be the creator of the man. And the essence of the creation of the specks of dust on the solar system has led to the creation of the man, so shall be the fields from the soul of the man which lead to creation of another cycle of life. What kind of life man would like to have to be created by his soul? This is the day of judgment. This is what man never understood. Now you have to understand. You have no choice. Up to today you were not aware of it. From today you are aware of it. You are responsible for it. Your conduct has to be to elevate your soul. That in elevating your soul, what you become the creator of stands correct in the conduct of its citizens. We don't give fairy tale. This is the truth about, as you've seen, the process does not stop with one sun. The cycle carries on. It's very interesting in how humanity, now knowing the fact, will handle the fact. It'll take decades for man to understand, and then you understand those who become the tools of war, the tools of conflict. They have less, they have nothing to start with. They have to become the dust in the solar system of the others till the day they learn more, as they cannot create a new cycle through their own soul. This is the elevation of the soul of the man. To be part of the creation of a beautiful life for the next cycle. When you don't have it, you have to become another cell in the body of the structure of the bigger, for you to be just there that you can done where you could have been the soul of the man. They say, do not create fear. I give you the point of love for creation. If you cared about your children on this planet to have the best, your true children come out of your own soul in the coming time. How would you like to educate them? How would you like to be when you are in conflict with yourself and the cause of so much mayhem? This is the truth, and the man will take a long time to understand, As now that we understand the soul of the man is the operator for the creation of the future extent of the life of the man. Whatever is gathered by the soul at the end becomes his point of reference of his own creation, of his own dimension. But the strangest thing is, what he creates from his soul shall become the creator of the other souls. This is the beauty about the creation, and one understands it, understands no limitation. Any questions?
Excuse me. There seems to be a repeating question in the live stream regarding if a soul becomes elevated, does it not also have to have the necessary knowledge so that it doesn't get manipulated on this planet?
Think of a simple process. Feeling was the interaction of the fields, from the soul of the man to the physicality of the man. What do you think the knowledge is? It's the same. Knowledge has a strength. Knowledge has understanding. Knowledge is the strength that it means I can comprehend my environment. The same as the emotion comes that I can feel my environment, cold, warm. Knowledge has a strength limit, and what one can understand. So, if you understand this, it's very easy how to elevate the soul of the man or oneself. Today's in the teaching with the motions, I explained something very, very crucial to them. But if understood, they can extend the knowledge of their souls beyond the knowledge of the present understanding of the man. I said to them very simply, I've been there when the planet needed to be rescued or to be saved. And it's done. Because the soul of the planet was peaceful. Not the planet had to be saved. This is the difference. When the soul of the man is at peace, in time of the trouble, when it comes to it, will be saved by those who respect peace. They come to it, not being calling for. Many times we have spoken about the second son. Many times we have spoken about what is to happen when is a natural process. We are entering in the higher field strength zones of the galaxy, and the elements will come together. Our present scientists, they call it the fusion. I call it interatomic. When the two suns come together, there is a mayhem for the planet. The responsibility of the Universal Council and the Earth Council is not only the man, is the content of this planet, which has a soul, which means has converted itself, that he has a feeling and knowledge about his environment. Many people say, how do we save? If it comes a meteorite, we had it with the dinosaurs, how are we going to survive it? Now you have the key. if you make a peaceful man from the soul of the man on the soul of this planet, the man himself will move the planet. The savior of the man will be the man himself and those who care for the existence of a peaceful planet. You want to be saved, choose the path of peace through the knowledge which you've been given. That's simple. The simplicity of it is the problem of it. Any other question?
Hi, Mr. Keshe. Hi, everyone.
Yes? Is that Paul?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, this is Paul.
Thank you very much, Paul. I read your comment and I
Yes,
respect your comment.
thank you.
Would you like to share it with us in what you wrote to me private?
Yes, Mr. Keshe. So, Mr. Keshe, I have first of all one question. I would like you give to everyone one tool to elevate the soul of every nation. And the second thing was about Togo. So our government is ordering some material, military material from France, and France refused now to sell this material to Togo. And I will like everyone to join us to help for create condition for peace for Togo, because heavily material, I didn't think that it is need for peace. As the way we are going, we need more peace inside and in the soul of everyone. So from there, I consider that in this process of peace, we have to act in two directions. The first direction is to maintain the peace in the world. So by giving enlightenment to everyone about the importance of peace, and the second one will be to solve the conflict of peace in the world. So at these two process, the first one I ask is to maintain peace for Togo. So the first one, I ask every soul to join us to stop giving war material to every nation in Africa and the rest of the world. This was my call as member of council. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Maybe we can add something to what you have requested. My wish is for peace in Africa. The Keshe Foundation in the coming weeks will announce the opening of more than 10 to 20 Keshe Foundation manufacturings across Africa. We have secured positions to announce it, and we announced this last night to the Universal Council. We develop, deliver, and encourage the African nations through the new technology to bring technology instead of tools of war. The Keshe Foundation International, which will be called Keshe Global, Keshe Foundation Global Operation, will be based in Ghana. We have brought in, accepted, and merged with organizations which allow the Keshe Foundation manufacturing rapidly to spread across Africa within the next 12 months. The skills and the investment has been brought in and will be added. This is the way we set to change. This is the way we allow the change to come in. We become a power in knowledge that we bring peace across Africa through Pan-African Keshe Foundation collaboration. We worked very hard to get for 6 months to set up the structure of the Keshe Foundation with certification of the products. We have achieved it. Keshe Foundation in the coming weeks will move into a massive or what we call production facilities, which then allows us to start the manufacturing across Pan-African nations. We have seen the facilities that it brings peace. We have managed to secure enough confidence that we move out of Ghana Atomic Commission into independent, and hopefully will be given a commission on its own. Plasma Commission will become part of the structure of the Ghana and Pan-African. We have requested for a commission to be appointed, and will be done. Because the new technology needs its own operation. What we announced today is what, in the way, Paul has been doing. He's been making GaNs, power units, materials, MAGRAV units for the government to test. He delivered 2 last week, he delivered 1 or 2 the week before. He works closely with the military that they can see the change. And for that reason, we will invest in Togo very rapidly to develop factories which can support the nations. We will not put cross references, but we extend the production to Togo and beyond. Kenyan office will be rapidly opened into manufacturing in the coming weeks. The same will be with Nigeria. The same will go with the new collaboration in South Africa, and we extend to 25 nations in the next 6 months. This has been a lot of hard work. We have attracted the management team, the distribution officers. We have managed to attract in enough, where we train enough of our own scientists, Ghana Keshe Foundation, that these individuals now become the managers of these companies across Africa to teach and return back to Ghana. I welcome and thank our new collaborators, and we put the hand of collaboration to the others. We have already moved, and will move in a direction that the peace in Africa will come, that no nation needs to buy arms. Our next goal, next target is very simple in Africa. In next few months, we'll push for no borders across Africa. We have the technological advantages to show, and now that the first certification of the first materials of the Keshe Foundation is confirmed by the organizations and the standards which has been set up by the government, will push towards the same way. When we transfer knowledge, when we transfer everything else across different nations of Africa, there is no need for borders. Then you find out there is no arm contracts. I invite different organizations to become part of the Keshe Foundation. Our collaborators are Ghanaian-based organization, and with it across 25 nations in Africa. Keshe Foundation Global, which will be called KFG, will become and is part of the operation starting from Monday. This is how we bring peace. Paul has been making MAGRAV units, giving it to the military for them to test that, to show the government can change. We asked the government, in trying to invest in arms, to invest in new technologies. They don't do it, we raise the funds to do it, because it's extremely lucrative for the rest of the nations not to buy, but to feed their nation. The new organization, Keshe Foundation Global, will cover every aspect. One of our first offices after Ghana is the nation of Liberia. We moved in, everything has been set up. In the next 3 to 6 months, you will see numerous number of Keshe Foundation manufacturing by nations will set up. We call it's profitable for the investors to take money in a huge investment back for what they want to invest, but they can return and leave their investments for peace purposes in Africa. It's taken a lot of work, but we have achieved it. We came to an agreement in past 48 hours, and you will see Pan-African Keshe Foundation as part of nation by nation. And one of the conditions we open investments is government to sign the nation to peace. We have committed the Keshe Foundation to over 21 million euro investments in Ghana, and that will be carried out. The same will be with other nations, and you come out of development of the Keshe Foundation processes. Now that we have the certification, we know the potential of the work which we can achieve. This is the beauty of it. And we have attracted partners that will invest and have already invested, and they will take part of the global operation. In the coming 2 years, the Keshe Foundation will be extended to 84 nations. I have started putting the management team together, and our investment has a clause. Signed peace, we invest in excess of 1 to 2 billion in your nation, which come out of your own nation for yourself. And our collaborators do not look for profit, they are of the same ethos of the foundation. Last night, I was discussing with Armin how to put the management team from our side in, that we have the maximum power back input into the peace process. If you are of the international management skill, and if you understand the process of the Keshe Foundation work, in manufacturing, in processing, send an email to Webmaster at Keshe Foundation. We are looking for international managers, we are looking for people, especially at this moment of time in Africa, who will support and increase the investment in Arizona, in Keshe Foundation Italy, Keshe Foundation Austria, and the Chinese collaborators in China. This is how we support. We can support you, Paul, by investing in peace, investing in technologies which brings peace across nation. When you are producing the same thing and the same benefit to the nation across the borders between Togo and Ghana, why do we need the borders for? This is what we are extending, the knowledge, and that is what we said. Today is the first day of summer. And in that process, we extend our work, we extend our effort for world peace and international peace through the factories, through giving the life back to Africa. I'll make every effort that no nation in Africa will invest in arms. We see problems in Liberia. In Liberia, 85% of the products from the farm never reaches the port. 2 reasons: there are no roads. Second reason, the shelf life of the products is few days in the heat of the nation. The Keshe Foundation, one of our priority we have decided with our partners, is the development of the process that can lead to elevating the problems in the nation. We have the products, we produce in Liberia. We work directly at the highest level in the government. The same will be, we invest in exchange for peace. Please, Paul, go back to the general and tell him one thing. Keshe Foundation is prepared to invest millions in Togo, sign yourself to peace, we invest. That's the gift I can give you. You have given him the power supplies. I watched every single piece you made. You report to me on a daily basis, your interaction with the military and the president's office. My message is the same. We are prepared to invest in Togo in exchange for peace. Keshe Foundation, which is all of us, will do. Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
I hope you make a general a very happy man.
He already be happy. He's very happy to be with us, and he won't work really for that. He say he offer his life for this technology.
Put the paper of peace in front of him and tell him to take it to the president, and we are prepared to invest.
Thank you. That will be done, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Last week I have said to you, but I haven't introduced myself. I'm Chin Chin. I'm Vietnamese. I'm living in Canada. I have said to you about I teach about 6 elements for the Keshe Foundation.
I asked you a very clear point.
Yeah.
You have to make a recording of it that we can listen to it. And we play that recording. Let me explain. What you are telling is a fundamental point. We would like to listen to it before you explain it, before it goes out. Because if we do it this way, your teaching is done correctly. Your knowledge is passed correctly. And I asked you before, I asked our French team, Caroline is in line, she can put you in touch with the French team.
Yes.
You have a number of Keshe Foundation supporters, French and English speaking with you. Do it properly and we give you time.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Please do it because it's important that we totally understand in what is said. We are not here to evaluate if it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
We want to be understood correctly.
Yes, I have to.
Yes, we have a French-speaking team in Canada. Rick, our people in Canada, French-speaking, Quebec guys. Can you put them in?
I have one sitting here right beside me, as a matter of fact.
Of course, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
Always available, Mr. Keshe.
And he was, Guy was actually translating some of what Chichin was speaking of in the plasma reactor group last night. We were sort of doing a bit of some of his ideas we were working with.
Guy is a member of the Keshe Foundation. Pardon?
Not yet.
No, I mean in the work, in the support, what he does in the background.
We're talking about Guy Chen Chen, not you. Okay. Guy is sitting here beside me.
Guy is a member of the Keshe Foundation team, and he's been there with his cat on the boat for a long time. And many times we had to wait for him to save his cat to be able to be in the meetings. I think he's landed, he can help to translate this into a language we can understand. Thank you very much, Guy, for all the things you've done. And it's get it done properly.
Yes.
If you can
I try
translate
to
it.
do my best.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
Mr.
We have.
Yes, Mr.
Pardon?
Keshe. Yes, Mr. Keshe. I will help the best I can here. And thank you very much for the recognition, but I will return the same to you. Thanks for all you give us all throughout the years. I've been following since the beginning, and it's amazing how the foundation grew and how all this is evolving. And my wish would be for peace for all the nation of the world, and let's roar peace in the hall of the war makers. Maybe. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much, Key. Please do this job and bring it back that we can understand it. And what you're explaining is fundamental. I understood what you're trying to say, but it cannot be devalued by mistranslation. We, as I said in the Keshe Foundation, we are not peer reviewing. That job is finished. Control is finished. You suggest a new way, an addition to the knowledge, and it has to be respected. But those days when we used to let people come and say whatever they like is gone, because we've seen the abuse and the people who came deliberately to damage. So now we assess, we look, we see what it is, and we put it out.
Yes, I have to connect with Rick and the.
Please.
Yeah.
You're in the hand of very safe people in the foundation.
Yeah.
You're in the hand of the members of the core team of the foundation.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any other point?
We did have some pictures of a MagRav unit by what's the name again? Angelo Dahl. And but you haven't seen these yet. I'm not sure. It's just a homemade MagRav unit that's submerged in fluid, and he thought that it was appropriate to the topic at hand, as far as the feeling of fields and that sort of thing. That's why he created this particular MagRav, just not for just power, apparently. So, would you like to have some questions from Angelo?
Can we have a look at it? Why not?
Sure. Okay. So, Angelo, if you want to open your microphone there and introduce yourself, perhaps.
Yes, hello, everybody. Hello, Mr. Keshe. My name is Angelo Daul. I'm from Keshe Foundation, Romania. And regarding your teaching about a year ago, your public teaching, you said about and learned us about the plasma liquids at that time. And in some point, you bring a MagRav unit and a big bucket, and you said, okay, if you understand now the plasma liquids, now is the time to take your MagRav unit and put it in a big bucket and fill it up with all the plasma liquids you have and see what it will be. Okay, so I did this because in this 1 year I saw nobody to do this, so I did it. And it is a normally homemade MagRav power unit, but I disassembled it and I put it together and I immersed it in all the plasma liquids I have at that time at home. And my question is, I have a lot of questions, but my purpose doing this was to go above to go further in this understanding, because I think, Mr. Keshe, you make this announcement to do this with some purpose, and I think this purpose is it's not about energy. It is about something else. And my purpose with this was and is to create an environment, because I think, because the interactions of all the plasma liquids, that's like a dielectric in this case, will make a huge plasma field. And I think this plasma field can be very useful in our home for it's like a second sun, if I can say so, for a peaceful environment, for feeding, maybe for elevating our souls in a plasmatic way, not in the way you mentioned it some minutes ago, I understand. And yes, these are my questions. I did this for a peaceful application, but maybe you can go further with your explanations about the thinking to submerge Magrav unit in plasma liquid. Why to do this, and what we can expect about all of it. In that teaching, you not mentioned if we have to plug it in or not. So I did this in a way that the connections are above the water, and so it is safe. And at this time, it is plugged in. But I don't know how you think about it and how you want to do this. So please, if you can give us some explanations about it, I will be very thankful. Thank you.
There are a couple of things. First of all, have you connected it to the main?
Yes, yesterday.
And what is the outcome?
In voltage?
Yeah.
200.
Have you blown up the fuse?
No, because all the connections are above the water, so just the unit goes through the water.
You mean the stacker unit in the water?
Yes, all the 3 stacker units are in the plasma liquid, but the connections and the capacitors are above. You can see it's above the water.
It is a very interesting point, and this was one of the reasons I suggested this. I remember that time. If you do such a thing with a normal wire and submerge units in the water, we know what it does. It blows a fuse, you have an explosion or whatever. Where this does not happen. Because you put the GaNs material in it, you have replicated the operation of the work of the human body. We don't short circuit. There is a step into this you have to be very careful with, is that you have put this in a GaNs water and you put the thing inside another GaNs tank. The GaNs waters you should use for the two has to be different. You have to have a gradient of the flow towards your coils. You will find, if it's done correctly, you create a very powerful system. In the second container at the bottom of the plastic, if you place a fair amount of GaNs itself, not just the liquid, you create an energy source. It's literally a plasmatic battery. If you look at it, and if you have studied, or if I can show part of the solar system books, which is book number 4, you see this process. Nanomaterial in conjunction with the plasma leading to creation of massive amount of energy. You will receive 2 kinds of energy. Depends how you tap into it. One is as normal as you plug your system in, is a 220, 110 simultaneously. But if you redirect the energy flow, you will find a massive power supply. In your 3-stacker, I reckon something about 40 kilowatt. 100 kilowatts should be easy. But you have to understand what you do and what you're doing with it. In the process with the other coils, like the maggrav system, we put a limited fixed amount of power on the coil. Now with the GANs and what you put in there, there is no limitation. It's how you collect it. If you show this to any man of physics, electrical engineers, electronic engineers, they tell you you're absolutely crazy. How can you put a wire inside the water and you still get power out of it? That's why I said, have you plugged it in to confirm there is no short circuit, even though you're operating in a liquid environment. You have to create a mixture gas that there is an inflow. You have to create an energy gap that is strong enough that it goes to the center column. Where you got that piece has to be lower in strength compared to the liquid, that it creates the liquid trying to feed it, that the energy crosses the coil and it delivers the energy. The choice of the gas and the gas material will have a direct effect in how you can harvest energy from this system. There are papers done in 1998, 1999 by the Russian scientists looking at the core of the solar system, and their evaluation is exactly as you see. You are not pouring water in, you're pouring against water, so everything is in a state of the transition of the energy. You have to choose where you put the yellow stone. Has to be a very heavy, attracting light gas. I'm going to show you if I can use can you give me an option to be able to, okay, I've got it.
You should be able to annotate right on the screen there.
Yeah, I'm trying to do, it's just, okay. You see, you need a very high, let me choose a better color that you can see. Use a black. You use a very high density, high strength GaNs here. You use in between here, and you use a very much weaker. So let's say you choose CO2 plus zinc oxide plus other heavy elements in 1. In 2, you choose element of CO2 and let's say copper and something else. In center, you only choose CO2. You can use both gases or liquid gases. The direction of the flow from the stronger to the weaker will cross your boundary of the energy and will deliver energy into the nano layers, which at the end you can extract. With the present coils, we nano coat and then GaNs coat. With this, what you don't see is a dynamic flow. These fields here are very dynamic. So they create a rotation that the energy keeps on gathering. The more you use the system, the higher powers you can get. If you do it properly, you can go easily to 100 kilowatts. And these wires will take it. They are strong enough because you don't use the wires, you're using the nano coating. Your operation outside, filters and capacitors are not necessary. The problem you'll have will be your capacitors. You have to remove those capacitors because they have elements of the paper and the others, and they cannot take high voltage, high current.
I understand. Just mention it about what you are saying. If I understand correct, I don't need to Gans coat these coils in this case.
No, because the material you have is against you put the plasma liquid. You see, you look at the material and just you see water. But in reality, your GANS material carries certain amounts. If you don't filter it the way we do in the factory, you, what do you call it? You have some gases floating in there. Armand did a test. Was it how long ago, Armand? Last year you did a test where we put pure plasma water, and when you put it in the bowl, there was some, we could see some residual of GANs in the boundary. When you spin it to high, and you could see with pure, even purified, you still, unless you purify the way we do with filtering, you have some gases there. So that's the process of what you call energy supply. In the bottom bucket, you can add easily any kind of gases that you make it heavier to do, but the thing is the whole energy will sit at the bottom. If you can hang columns of gases, we bought something very interesting recently with Caroline. It's a spiral glass. And what is interesting with the spiral glass, the whole GANs stays equal among more or less the whole spiral. I think it's about 8 to 10 turn on it, and the GANs doesn't go all the way to the bottom. When I got it, I thought this will be like as you fill up a tube, will go to the bottom, but adhesion to the tube, it shows that the GANs stays right across the whole of the tube. So you have a balanced distribution. There is a picture of it. If Caroline is online and she can take it, we can see it. Caroline, are you in the background? Hello?
Yes, what would you like, please?
Do you know the bottles of the water with the spiral coil? Can you take a picture and send it to me?
The ones I showed downstairs.
Yeah, the ones here with the water in it.
Okay, to where do you want me to send it, please?
Send it to Rick, and the Rick can add it. We show it. You, for a system like this, you need that kind of operation, that equal energy is transferred to the coils.
Yes, and Mr. Keshe, exactly at that point, I want to add something. After I filled up this whole bucket with the GANS waters, about 2 hours after, the liquid plasma colors a little bit. It became goldish somehow.
Is it bluish? What color?
No, it is gold color. Yellow brownish.
This is the copper. Yeah, this is the copper which comes from the atomic structure, which is nano-sized, but hasn't become. It still is an atomic condition of the copper. We see this quite often, or becomes green sometimes. But that's normal.
But what is it?
Can I ask? Can I ask you something so I can send it in one go? Sorry to disturb you. It is already gone into process. You want one of the process as well, Mr. Keshe?
No, just the ones which are on the table.
Okay.
The ones which are on the table, because you see it's very interesting. It doesn't follow the law of physics to go all the way to the bottom. It stays equally distributed.
Yeah, and this is what I saw in this case. This liquid plasma have a color, but normally if this color comes from the GANS coating from the coils, because they are GaNs coated in gradients, but with a very, very light GaN, so almost nothing stays on the coils. But in a very interesting way, nothing settles down in these bottles. So about 3 days, it stays stable. It has this color, but nothing on the bottom. And if it would be GaNs, in the time, normally it has to settle down, but it doesn't settle down. So it's interesting.
No, the reason is because it's interesting. If you understand the process, it'll be much more interesting. This is the way in our body our atomic structure is held. All the iron doesn't go to our foot, and all the zinc doesn't go to our foot. In a GaNs state, everything is everything, literally what you have created is a total virtual GaNs state, total virtual plasmatic condition. So what you see in suspended condition is a copper which is in a way gravitational magnetically spacing itself. What you see is correct, and it is that's because your bucket is full of GaNs, so you are already what do you call it, in a GaNs state. Positioning comes into operation. This is how our body stands up. The water is there, and the atomic molecular structure positions itself, and it gives us height, it gives us thickness. But you have a fixed copper condition. If you, for example, had different rings of copper, let's say nickel, and anything else, you would have start seeing a structure building up. Marco did this about 2 years ago. That's how we built the brain cells. We added, we mixed it, and then you create a structure, solid structure.
Yes, thank you. And about the fields.
Pardon?
About the fields they are creating in this case. Can we benefit near energy?
Yes.
From
yes.
these fields? Because I think it is a very mixed plasma field.
It's not a mix. You have with a structure like this, you should be able to achieve certain physical changes and certain emotional changes, because all the elements in there is not copper, it's some zinc too. And if you have chosen a zinc mixture, you should be able to see the aura of the container.
In the dark or in the light?
You get the aura, the machines which can show the magnetic field around the human body. You should be able to see it with this one very easily. And then you find out the extent of it, and by the color you can tell if you feel if it's near the emotional strength fields or is it near the what do you call it, physical strength.
I understand, thank you.
Yeah,
and,
but try to create a dynamic or a spiral fields that every ring gets the same. You'll find this is a very powerful system. And if you show it to any physicist and electrician, they'll say you're crazy. You cannot put wires and get energy out of it in liquid.
I understand, thank you. I have one question, if I may, about GaNs of GaNs. I made a reactor to make GaNs of GaNs from hemoglobin. And I don't know if it is correct, but I made two type of hemoglobin, like you said. One type is iron between nano-coated copper and zinc, and the type 2 is iron between nano-coated zinc and zinc. I collected this hemoglobin, but interesting from my point of understanding, the hemoglobin forms just on the nail, exactly on the interaction field with the amino acid. On the bottom of these reactors, I have something else, something between CH3 and zinc oxide, I think. And I collected just
You
this.
have made the ganses of hemoglobin, yeah?
Yes, I try to do this, and if Rick can leave me to share this picture, if you can, that you can say what I did, and if it is correct. May I?
Yeah, carry on. We were talking about this yesterday. Was it?
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So this is the reactor, and I made in these two bottles. Everything was nano coated before. No. So I nano coated the bucket. I nano coated these little things. In that came the GANs. After then I made a capacitor, but in the capacitor I used just the GANs from the bottom of the two reactors, nothing else. So this is the capacitor. And after then I filled up these two in, these are two types of hemoglobin, but also I made a volume gradient between the two. After them, I put them in this reactor, and I filled the reactor up with the GANS waters from these two reactors. So not fresh water with salt. It is the same GANS water from these reactors. You can see the reactors there. On the left side is type 2. That means nano-coated zinc and zinc. And here is the iron nail. And in the reactor from the right side is nano-coated copper with zinc and the iron. And this is hemoglobin type 1. And like I said, here, if you can see my mouse, here is the point of interaction with the amino acid. And from my point of understanding, just this here is hemoglobin, not what is on the bottom. I don't know if I'm correct.
Yeah, but why don't you collect it at that point? That's correct.
I collected, but just this red stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is hemoglobin type 2, the reactor from type 2 with nano-coated zinc and zinc, and you can see the color.
See what you can do. Let me just 1 second. Just stay where you are. If you put the same iron on the copper side, on the nano-copper side,
yes,
you will see the difference, and you can use the two as a potential difference in the strength. But there'll be a different blood. This is what we call the blood cells with what you use on the zinc side. They carry their strength at the emotional level. The ones on the copper side carry strength on the physical emotional level. If you put one zinc, one stick, iron stick in the middle between the two places, you will see the difference too.
Yes, I saw this. I made them in many ways. I have sometime this iron nail between the two plates, and it was another color.
Yeah. So what you are doing, what do you collect? What have you collected between the two ganses?
What I put in these little jars was just this type.
Yes,
not from
when
the
you
bottom.
collected, but when you collect, what do you collect when you put the two in the tubes, as you showed us?
I don't have pictures, but I put out the nail, and I washed the nail with some plasma water from the reactor. And
No. What I'm trying, the picture you're showing us now, yeah?
Yeah.
When you run this, what do you collect at the bottom?
I don't know what I collect. It runs about 1.5, maybe 2 weeks. This reactor. I have a lot of amino acid on the top, and on the bottom, it's a very, very thin and fine powderish something. But if I look from above, it is transparent. I cannot see it. But if I look from the side, then I can see this 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter of GaNs, I think. And
there are two flaws with this. First of all, you have 2 nanomaterials in the tube.
Yes.
It would have been easy. So now you created what you're collecting at the bottom, you're creating another GaNs because you got the 2 elements.
Yes.
Just happen to be in the GaNs of blood. So as I've suggested before, fill up the GaNs as it is, don't put a wire in, connect the 2 tubes together with a liquid of each one that they can mix.
Yes.
And then watch what you produce at the bottom. That is the GaNs of the GaNs. Here you're looking at the material, you see the fat on the top, but in reality it's the 2 elements you dropped in. This is not the GaNs processing. You connect it, as I've said in other teaching, just take those 2 wires out, you put a capacitor in there, just connect it to a wire. On the top, there will be mixture of the 2. On the bottom, they stay as they are. And then you see what you collect.
So you mean I not need the capacitor, I need a tube with the mixture of the GaNs?
Yeah, let's see what it is. In a way, you got to get rid of this, you got to get rid of this, you got to get rid of this.
Yes.
All you need is a tube, yeah? You leave your GaNs here, and then you allow the system to work and see what it produces. This has to be a salt water. And with this thing, you can go with the minus salt, which goes about 0.5, or go plus to 1.5.
I use the water from the reactors to be in GaNs state.
No.
So you can
could do, but
water.
Yeah, you can use, if you stay in a GaNs condition, then you produce a GaNs, what do you call it? But try to use the liquid GaNs from CO2. You'll find a very good result. Or you can add, what do you call it? Certain amount of CH3 in the process, outside, not inside.
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's
And,
fantastic to see what you've done. But go a step further, and then what you actually can create here. If you can put a pipette in, whatever you create here is the GaNs of the difference between the 2 elements.
Yes, this was my question. What I produce and for what purpose I can...
What you produce, it's very much, if you look at it, you have a blood from the copper side, which is the physical side, you have a blood from the emotional side, and I'll tell you something you'll find very strange here. If you pick up the field of the GaNs here, and you can test these GaNs.
Yes, that was my purpose, but I was not sure if I understand it correctly. Yes, but I have to...
This is at a matter level.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for such a beautiful job. Thanks for sharing it with us.
It's my pleasure, and thanks for all your teachings.
Or is there any other question?
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes?
Hello. This is John from Arizona.
Yes, Mr. John from Arizona.
One of the things that we created last week was using our MagRav units. We put them in the GANs of tritium, the GANs of deuterium, and the GANs of hydrogen in each of the layers.
Do you want me to read you something? Do you want me, John, do you want me to read you something very interesting?
Go ahead.
Wait 1 second, please. You got to be very patient with me. I'm a slow man. I'm too old to do things fast. Just 1 second, please. There was a question for you on one of the chats, and I think you got to answer it. It says, it's to John, to you. If you are here, or Armand, can you please share your methods of making hydrogen and carbon GANs? I understood both of you have achieved this. Can you please share? And I replied very directly, no way. We are very mean people.
One of the things with this is it's up to the soul to find the answers in this particular case.
Do you want to share with them your method, or are we keeping it very secret? Are we mean people, or are we going to tell them how to make it?
When the souls are ready, they'll figure out how to pull them together. I've been giving clues to people, but you know, one of the things that I found is I was completely unsuccessful in many of my experiments until my wishes were in alignment with that which I wished to create. And then it wasn't until I'll say touched it with my heart that I found out that I had that which I desired. So it's, you know, it can be right in front of people, and it probably has been right in front of people, but they just haven't recognized it. You know, when the time comes, I guess you know, we can look at when it's time to share with people. But it's running with the ethos of the foundation, because you know, again, it can be used for benefit and can be used for harm. So we have to be careful that we're in alignment.
So are you going to share the secret of your hydrogen, or are you keeping it as a mean man like me?
I think I'm keeping it as a mean man. Your soul will guide you.
Pardon?
Their souls will guide them.
Listen, I taught you freely. You can't be that mean. Teach it freely too. They want to hear it from you. I taught Armand something very interesting this last few days. How to make tritium in a very easy way.
Yes,
and
it's
he's
very.
like,
Yeah.
He says, I'm going to be a mean man too.
Yeah. Let me give everybody some clues.
The emotions are laughing their head off.
Yeah, I'm sure emotions know.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're dealing with the hydrogen atoms, you start with what it is that contains the hydrogen atoms, and in the plasma state, you're able to pull the hydrogen atoms away from. If it's in water,
I
you're
stop
able.
spending all your time explaining this. Just tell us easy. Why are you killing us?
You want me to do it?
Let them fly. I mean, we give them the tool. If they want to do it, let them do it. I taught you very easily how to make it.
So most of the people, when they go,
let me. I'm going to give you a starting point, John. How to make tritium? How do you make tritium?
Tritium. Tritium is
that's very hard. Tritium is very easy to make.
Tritium is our CH3 with when we put our salts in there, we're able to separate the molecules.
Sorry about laughing. I do apologize. Armand has just brought the fire gas mask out. Breathing system. I do apologize. The problem is when you want to make a tritium. We don't make tritium. We make GaNs which behaves as a property of the tritium. If you look at the tritium, it's more or less 3 neutrons in the CH3, 3 protons. You have 3 electrons and you have 3 addition neutrons. If you look at CH3, understanding the process in a plasma level, and understanding going back to the first box you ever made, which was a nano-coated copper and a zinc plate, which you created a carbon. If you make a closed box, Armin is dying now, that's it. His secret is out of the bag. I've taught him, he thought he's got something extra. Now we're all equal. So, can I have let me share and then you understand. This is a fuel for a space technology. I'm going to share. I'm going to go this or this one. I say yes. Oh, it's good at my age. I still remember to do so. Oh no, I forgot. I did it the wrong way. Okay, there we are. Now I'll teach you how to make a very effective plasma GaNs of tritium. And the nuclear centers are going to shoot you. Just be very careful. Sorry, Armin. You used to, let me put it this way, you used to put a nano copper here. Oh, yes. And then you used to do a zinc plate here. This is a nano coated, yeah? Then you used to create carbon gravitational magnetic field, which in the salt water used to extract Mr. Cohen. Oh, my Jewish blood, that's where I come from. And then there comes the attachment to the oxygen and pulling the carbon in, becoming a CO2 and going down. Now what you have to make a CH3, what you do, you get your CH3, let me choose a color that you all know. You get a CH3 in a container above the water, you seal the box totally. Now you start the process. What's going to happen? This carbon gravitational magnetic plasma would extract the carbon from CH3. What you are left here is a pure tritium level plasma. Don't forget, we call it the plasma of tritium. Here in the matter state, you're talking about hydrogen, which is 3 hydrogens. In the plasma state, it's different. It behaves different because here you have 1 proton, 1 electron, 1 proton, 1 electron, 1 proton, 1 electron. In the plasma field, this proton stays proton. The accumulation of the fields of the 3 electrons, plasmatic field, will create a neutron, 2 neutrons. So now you in fact have the property strength of tritium plasma material, GaNs. What is left in the tray, if you can collect it, you see it, will be in your container pure tritium plasma. And it's a secret to a space technology fuel. In a space road fuel, you work like this. or vice versa according to what you can do. Hydrogen, deuterium, tritium. The flow between these, if you can reconnect and understand how to do it, you can instantaneously become gravitational or instantaneously become magnetic. This is how you load a spaceship, your system.
So what I did was I did that with the magnet.
I'll just speak with the motions. You don't have this in your brain, so you have to try something else. Sorry, John. So now you have seen how to make tritium in a plasmatic level. It's not a matter level. You can play a second game the same way, in a very, very easy way to produce deuterium and hydrogen. We are not talking anymore atomic molecular, we're talking a plasma. And then I'll leave this secret to John, at least he's got something to teach. Would you like to teach us how you make deuterium? Hello, John.
Muted.
Okay,
Hello.
sorry, I was on mute.
Yep.
So what we do is we change the power level when we're making CH3 to a higher voltage, and that black, rather than being the orange color, it becomes the black color. We don't turn it up too high, but we turn it up to a higher level. And that black stuff that's in the bottom that most people threw away is your deuterium.
That's very mean. You got to show it to us. I was easy to show. Come on, share the screen. We didn't understand. You're too American. Can we have some secret, please? Can you draw it for us?
Okay, well, it's real simple. So you're making CH3 with your two things on either side, your nano-coated copper and your chicken wire. Okay.
Yeah.
So normally when we make it with no power. Now what we do is we turn the power on. The nano-coated plate we put to the minus, and the other chicken wire we put to the plus, and then we crank it up to about half a volt, and we create a black
Excuse
material.
me, our master says you're wrong. Come on, explain what you do. No. You are two people in Arizona. Make your mind how we do it. Okay. No. Tell me. Carry on. If it's correct, it's got to be correct. It says plus to nano-coated, minus to non-nano-coated. Correct, Armin? Yeah. No problem. Sorry about that, John. This is Master Armin. He's correct. So you put it to half a volt.
Yep.
And
we get rather than getting the orange colored material, we get a black colored material.
And that's your deuterium.
And that's our deuterium.
And how do you make hydrogen?
We use the Coca-Cola bottles, and we put carbon stick in we put carbon stick in. Well, first we nano-coat the Coke bottle. We put a tube coming out of the Coke bottle into another bucket of salt water. We put a carbon rod in the salt water itself and one in the Coca-Cola bottle that has salt water also, and also some caustic material. In my case, what I do is I chop up little pieces of Coca-Cola bottles and put it inside the Coca-Cola bottle itself. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling, all of the plastic has a CH bond. So what we're doing is we're pulling out the hydrogen out of the bonding with the plastic. It takes quite a while. I poke a hole in the Coca-Cola bottle at the water level so that we can get a reaction with the power, and we collect 3 different materials, one in the Coca-Cola bottle, one in the I'll call it the container itself, outside the Coca-Cola bottle, and then the third one where the tube from the Coca-Cola bottle goes into the salt water. Each one of them has a different color. The one in the Coca-Cola bottle typically has a bluish tinge to it. The one outside the Coca-Cola bottle typically has more of a black carbon look to it, and the one in the other where the tube goes into has a goldish color. Each one of them has its own properties of hydrogen. They all act a little bit different though. Comments?
I'm listening. It's too complicated. I never made it that complicated.
It's hard to make. That's why it took me 20 times to get it
right. For everything. What shall we do with him? Shall we gans him? There must be an easier way to do it. I know I done it that way as well, but you can do it the same. One of the easiest ways is to use aluminium for atomic hydrogen. A slow process, not a rapid process, cold caustic, and let it slowly evaporate. What do you see when the gas is completed? You don't see anything in the water, and then after a while you see black stuff at the bottom, which is the gas of the aluminium. But the gas releases atomic hydrogen. You can do in a plasmatic condition, if you understood what it's on the screen, how you make CH3, you can make a condition that you create a CH bond field in that process. That you create deuterium, and again you create a condition with the deuterium, with the CH3, that you create balance of hydrogen. The process you have here on the screen allows you to create both tritium, deuterium, and hydrogen atomic in a plasma condition in a very fast way. And you see it by the color. If you look at here, if you look at this space, if you understand it, here you had a carbon. Now you need to create a condition of CH, which is very easy. So what is left in interaction from here leaves you with H2, and if you can create a CH2, then it gives you hydrogen. And this process is very easy to produce, extremely easy.
But that's using a plastic bucket, correct?
Yes, but it has to be totally sealed. Totally sealed.
That's how you get the CH bond, is through the plastic, right?
No, we get a carbon from the CH3 to be extracted. And it does. You see the change of the color in the CH3 on the top as the carbon is released.
Can this be done with the plates outside of the container?
You can try. It's done before, but you can try. But then you need to use a very narrow container.
And if you use glass, do you have to introduce plastic into the
No, do it
condition?
with the glass. The glass gives you more purified. Even on the top, put a glass. If it's a glass container, you're 100% sure it's tritium. This tritium is not radioactive. This tritium is extremely volatile in energy. When you touch it, you feel it. It goes through you. You feel the energy of it. It's those who come close to it will not eat for days because it's an instant energy transfer at a very high potential. And the body takes everything it needs in one go. This is one of the ways you feed in space using tritium. Now there is another secret out of the bag.
Where does the deuterium oxide fit into the? Is that still matter state?
Why do you need an oxide? You don't have oxide. You have a pure tritium. The tritium, the deuterium, and the hydrogen never oxidize if you do it the right way. They stay in an plasma atomic condition. One is usually black, one is usually tinted blue. If you do it in a different way, you have a slightly orangish color.
I've had some solidified to where it was silverish too. Like
Depends
thick.
what you use. Depends if it is material. What if you reach silver color comes from free hydrogen. Does not.
You lose your mic.
Yeah, the microphone is sounds
Sorry
there.
about that.
That's better. Thank you.
Yeah, my microphone went up to my ear, stopping in front of my mouth. I dropped the headphone. If you reach silver color, this is from 3 H's, 3 hydrogens. You have a pure hydrogen, but the orientation due to magnetic positioning creates silver color. This is what you see a lot in the space materials. Those who talk about finding new materials which you cannot melt and burn in a spaceship structure comes partially because of this interaction. It's a pure. If you do it with deuterium and tritium, you get the same silvery shiny. If it solidifies to matter, is what is known as a space material. This has been a mystery to those who say they have a spaceship in their hand and they don't know what material is made of. It transfers itself in a dimension to matter state silver color, but is not tritium. It's a hydrogen in 3-level magnetic positioning.
I see.
You get it the same with deuterium, and you get the same with tritium if you can do it.
Now, I've heard you say. I've heard you say in situations that the deuterium is blue, and I've also heard you say that the hydrogen is blue.
Yes, you have to realize one of the properties of the way you load the reactor with deuterium, tritium, and hydrogen is silver color on the boundary too. It creates a material which has no property but has the property of all the elements known to man.
So what color would you say the deuterium should be?
Your deuterium should be black in most of the cases the way you produce it. Because of the crystal structure, it creates very much the color of carbon. It behaves like a crystal. This is the reason we have skin. Our skin is physical. It's because of the middle layer in the body. So now you have a deuterium is black. It usually shows itself, and then with the tritium is in blue. But depends. It's like the way we make copper. You know, when we make a copper oxide, depending on how we made it, it's black or orange or green.
Yeah, exactly.
That is, it depends how, in what proportion of what percentage you put. But in reality, you can produce one of the first things you see in this, any time you have the hydrogen or in a combination of hydrogen in the nanolayers or combination of nanolayers or plasmatic of the hydrogen, the silver structure is an automatic outcome if we know what to do with it. This is what I said from the beginning. If you understand the process of plasma technology, hydrogen is the backbone of everything you need in the space. It's what we call, at the moment we call it, fiberglass tubes are one of the hardest to do. Now you can imagine what this gives you. It's those in the space technology who claim they have in their possession silverish material which is from the space or space structures they have in their possession, for the first time understand what they have. You cannot melt it. You cannot destroy it. You cannot do anything with it. It's literally, you cannot destroy it. As long as you handle it with matter state. The only way you change the composition is introduction of the additional field of the higher order. This is how you open your doors in the spaceship. Once you create it, you decide the position of the space. At that point, you create a different gravitational magnetic field. Let me explain to you. These teachings brings things we don't want to teach, but we are there, why not? In a spaceship, you never have a body. You don't have an entrance, you don't have an exit. If you use a 3-layer bead in your reactors, combination of the fields, deuterium, tritium, and hydrogen, you get a silver material. Oops, what happened to it? It went somewhere. Come back, darling. I'm going to do it again. When you, this is your, what happened? What have I touched now?
What was that magic combination? That 3 combination made the top of the spaceship come off, Mr. Keshe.
Huh? You saw it. So it was to tell us something. Okay. So now you have your reactors. You created 3 layers. Through the fields inside your reactors, you have, everything is there. This leads to a solidification material if you want to do it. It's a specific way to produce it. This gives you a silver color, shiny silver, brightish sometimes. This material is, you cannot destroy it. Man's knowledge, with all the tools you have, you cannot touch it. The only way you do, because you created it out of interaction of the fields, the only way you can open a passage through it, a doorway through it, is by creating a field lock. There is no doors, there are no hinges. You create a field lock which allows, at that point, the integrity of the door stays, but at that point you open up the magnetic gravitational field, and then that's your gateway. In a space, the only way you create a door to get in and out is by changing gravitational magnetic field. It's not by physical door. You never created a physical door. And it comes by a higher order. What you literally have to do, very simple, your system here is, let's say, hydrogen, deuterium, tritium. You create the reverse. That gives you the space. It's just change of magnetic field. Gives you the space. You still keep the structure because disorders. Then you have your entry. You can make what you call wormholes. You can create a spherical to give you access in and out, the size you want to go. The beauty with this is, because you create a gravitational magnetic field, outside environment can never come in. It's impossibility. Because your shielding, your shield of the reactors are completely in process. All you've done, you have created a hole for it to open up, but still you keep confinement. This is how the spaceships travel. This is how you enter and exit. There is no hinges and doors opening and falling. You created it out of gravitational magnetic field. You open it through gravitational magnetic field. And these materials are, you cannot destroy it, because the second layer, deuterium, creates literally diamond structure. You cannot touch it. You can come down with whatever you thought. Diamond is a tough thing. You haven't played with this boy. Good morning, Armin. Another secret in the space technology.
So inside that, inside those fields, all the energy is coherent. Is that true? Or 0 point energy?
Very, very much. They depend. They decide.
So if we're building,
the guys in NASA are kicking themselves. We got all this silver material. We've been trying to drill it.
if we're building these Starship reactors.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Mr. Nelson at NASA headquarters, spaceflight, NASA Mars mission. Now you can open the black box in the black area. I know you listen.
We're going to open all the doors.
This is the key to opening spaceships, which man could not know open up to now. We give the same information to the Chinese government, who holds 3 of them. Now you know how to get in, but be careful what comes out of that wormhole.
When we build these reactors, Starship reactors, a lot of times the fields that we create are incoherent. Is there a trick to making those fields more coherent with some of our GaNs materials?
Excuse me, we are a bunch of foreigners. I don't come from. Can you explain what you mean by coherence in this term?
So when we plug into the wall, for example, with our reactors, we get all the energy fields of the AC currents creating havoc on the energy fields that we create with the reactors. When we plug into the DC...
Let me teach you something to stop that. No, hello, let me teach you something. It should theoretically stop that. When you plug your system into the wall, don't plug it into the wall direct. Put a maggraph system, connect your system to a maggraph system to a plug wall. The nano layer converts the energy into a plasma condition, so you work in a plasma condition. When you connect directly into the wall, you're interfacing plasma with the matter state. So you have hundreds of those maggrav units. Use one of them as an interface converter. You should not have any more problem.
And would you say that then those fields become more coherent?
In a way, yes, because now it goes by demand. You remember in ambassador meeting in Rome when we put the drill which Arman brought from United States 110 and the European drill 220 together, and we made a lot of noise because the system takes what it needs according to the time and the energy it needs to release itself back into the system. It will be very coherent. It should be, but this is what is part of the technology. You use the maggraph system as an adapter to the energy levels you want.
Okay, thanks. That's a big help for us.
Don't forget my payment, please.
Got it.
Nobody paid. I give so much information. It's all free. Can I get paid, please? Some energy levels will be good enough. There is no cash in the bank we don't need.
Armin's there. Armin will take care of you.
But now you understand how to make matter state with your reactors. And this is the way it works, the way it operates.
Mr. Keshe, Brett just mentions, I give my love. And I wanted to mention that just before he said that, we were discussing last night in the Keshe Plasma Reactor group that I hold each week about the idea of the things in the universe, such as hydrogen atoms out in space, that might have this attractive force for each other. And the same with the rays that we saw in the plasma animation. They see each other or become aware of each other and are somehow attracted, and then they intertwine and form that union and plasma, that fusion of plasma. So the word love comes up. Are the rays, do the rays feel love? Is that what the principality love, you might say? Is that what pervades the universe? And is that what is between the tritium, deuterium, and hydrogen layers as well in this spacecraft? Is that the coherent energy that John was talking about?
It is, in a way, it is the balance energy which we all share. This is why, this is how your vein works. It's the balance energy which the strength of it dictates the space of it. You were one of the first ones who created that hollow center. Now elongate, and according to different amount of gas outside, you will see you create a vein through fields. You remember when you put I explained this in the teaching before, in the medical teaching, when we're doing it, the 32 teachings. You created a core and you span it, and you had a center hollow in the middle. Now, if you can put the ganses, let's put this one, if you can put the ganses around it, yeah, which now we saw with the Romanian, for example, and then you could extend it, that is how your vein is created. That's why you have that gap that you can allow blood as a superconductor material flow through it without any attachment. If you put the series of these cores to each other, then it is there. Dr. Parvis, thank you very much. Received your message. Enjoy yourself in Damaband. He's in Iran. And he's listening.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, can you speak a bit louder? Are we within the time limit?
I am Ramat Mansour.
Yeah, we're fine, Mr. Keshe.
Somebody is talking in the background.
Do you hear me?
Can you speak a bit louder, please?
Okay, I try to do better. I am speaking as louder as possible. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Mr. Keshe, as I told you already, I found that gas water, if it is separated
I can't
from
hear what you're saying. Please, can you speak a bit louder?
And maybe say who you are and where you're from as well, please.
I try to speak a bit louder. Gans water, when it is isolated from the gans and put in a reservoir, in a plastic reservoir, this gas water loses its vibratory strength after about half a day.
We know that.
This happens, I know that, very good. This happens, of course, with patches. So if you remember,
no, it does not. Let me explain. This is something you're wrong. I correct you straight away. Most of the people, when they make patches, they don't make a pure GANS. There are always certain amount of GANS floating, even it looks pure.
Okay, very good.
So the patches do not do, because we spoke about this before. and this was a trick used by somebody who was saying, oh, this is what happens, he could sell more patches, so we stopped the rumors.
Yes, because some people says that it is not necessary to have a vibrating patch to heal. But it's not my, I don't know what is your advice.
I don't advise.
Your advice is to use GANS water with tiny particles of GANS, okay?
Yes, but the ganses are always, we know this because in here in Ghana Atomic, when we submitted materials to the standard board, after a while they could see sediment at the bottom. Even we purified it, and then we came up with a new solution, a situation for purification.
Okay. Thank you. Can I ask a short question? It deals with the Parkinson's disease, which is a neurodegenerative disease. So my question is, can we use for healing Parkinson's disease what?
First of all, we don't heal. We don't heal. The healer, I'm not a doctor to heal. We process.
Yes, of course. But can we suggest using the same method that we use for Alzheimer, LS, and MS?
It's a slightly different. Alzheimer is a neuroconnection. Parkinson is a neuroconnection, physical disturbance in the structure of the brain, slightly. It's between Alzheimer's and MS. And that is, you took a picture? Can I have a money for it, please? You just took a picture of me. You cannot use the same, but partially you can.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, this is Jim. How are you?
Hi, not too bad.
Good. If I can share my screen, I've got a couple of questions that we in the private students need some answers on.
Yes.
You can give us some advice on that one.
Agriculture?
No, it's understanding the plasma, the inner workings of the plasma and how it changes, how it can transform from the carbon to the oxygen and create the CO2.
Yes, you want me to stop sharing?
I
Oh,
shared. Can you see it?
Rick has changed it for you.
Okay. Okay. So we are busy on trying to understand how molecular structure is created, and with specific reference to CO2. So I'm just going to run through a few slides and then get to the question. Now, we understand that the plasma has different layers of fields, different strengths of fields, creating the different gaps. And when it releases fields, it's sort of magnetical, and it pulls in fields, and those gravitational. Now, when we've got a certain field strength within a plasma, a certain gravitational strength, and we have another strength outside the environment of the plasma, and as you've explained, it travels through the gaps in the plasma and connects up to that point of the same strength and locks in that new mass. And we've added strength to the center of the plasma, and we've also added mass to the center of the plasma because of the additional...
Just can you repeat that again, please?
Which one? Back?
Back to the other one.
Okay.
You cannot add a strength to the center of plasma. You add a strength according to the level of the strength on the spiral of the plasma. The only part which can add to the center of plasma is the center of universe, because it carries that strength. This is the line of connection. As we say, birds with birds, fox with foxes. In what you're showing us, in this is another part of teaching. I can add knowledge. At least as we're going along, we can see. Has anybody seen my wife anywhere? She could show us what she's photographed. You see this part. I'm gonna go blue. You can see it. This part of any plasma is our central line of connection with the universe. Because the center of universe carries the maximum energy of the creation of the universe, our universe. So when you look at it, in the center of the universe, in the center of any atom, this is the only connection we have. The rest is the addition of the totality of the environment. Then, if you go a step further, if you add, let me choose a color. If you add into the center of this strength at this higher order matches to the unicos. So when you write things like this, if you put it correct from the beginning, we understand it easier. So when you add another material, let's say hydrogen or whatever, you add to this level. If you add another material, say copper or zinc, you add to this level. Does not, but itself again in the center has a strength which is connected to this, with the totality connected to the, and itself, if you look at it, is connected to the same thing. We never reach, the only time we reach the central strength is when you reach what we call the central line gravitational magnetic field of the universe. This is how every element is connected to the mother. We have a combination when you have a field here. When you have a field here, the green is not very good. I try to make it black. If you have this field here, this field strength is the field strength of our galaxy. As we add, we push this into further in, but we can never cross the line. And in this space of this planet. So we add on the branches that it becomes much stronger at this level. And that's when you come to copper, it still takes more of. You add more and more on this ring. Carry on, please.
Okay. If you look at what we're trying to understand is on a basic level, on a simple. Where's my? I'm going to go to. If we've got an example here, if we're starting out with carbon and we're adding additional fields to create the strength of oxygen. So now we have a plasma with carbon and oxygen. Is that the correct way to understand it? Because you've got your original plasma of carbon.
Just wait 1 second. Wait, I just received something I have to answer. Please 1 second, please. Yes, okay. There is a reminder. Dr. Klaus wants me to repeat one thing which is important. Please do not use, because apparently some people didn't understand, do not use any aluminium when you're making nano coating, and do not use any caustic when you're doing GANs production. Carry on, please. because apparently there is some concern somewhere. Yes, carry on.
Okay, so we've got the carbon. Ultimately, we're getting to our CO2, where we have the one oxygen and carbon and the other oxygen plasma. But the real question is, how do we go from the carbon to the carbon and oxygen plasma? Is it the same plasma, just with a different...
No. You see, when you have the plates in the water, and now you're working in a plasmatic condition, the water between the two plates is not in a matter state water. Your salt is not in a matter state, is in a GANS state, is in a plasma state environment. So now the oxygen which has strength to absorb, to be absorbed by the or to be absorbed by the plasma of the carbon, it interacts, it locks into it, because the immediate, you have to look at the spiral of the plasma, which is this, if you remember.
Yes.
Easy. I cannot write. This spiral, if you remember the way we always show, you have the carbon here, but behind it you have the oxygen. Oxygen is gravitational magnetic field strength in the liquid and the gas state on this planet. Hello, I lost it. Hello.
I lost as well. I'm back.
You're back, but I think we lost your screen. We need it back on.
Okay. You got it?
Yes. So what happened, the reason it is, it's the oxygen. If I can write it, let's go back and start again. Oxygen here in between the two plates where you have is magnetic. It's a magnetic material. On the solid state matter, we have iron as a magnet.
Yes.
In the liquid and the gas is the oxygen, which is a magnet. So it's a common denominator. It has to be. That's why everything you do on this planet oxidizes, because when it's out in the atmosphere, it oxidizes, goes in the water, because it's a interconnecting. It's a balancer. Everything goes through it. Is a magnetic field balancer. So when you have a carbon, it needs to have a balancer in its environment to be balanced, and automatically receives the oxygen in the shape of O or O2. Because beyond it, then it becomes matter state of the planet. There is a reason for the oxidization. When you oxidize anything, it's halfway between the gaseous part and the matter part. That both can agree in collaboration, both can have connection between two. That's why elements oxidize. Any element. Because we lost him again. John is lost. Jim is lost. Hi, Jim. Is Australia one of the most advanced nations in the world? They have done it. That is much better.
Yeah. Let's see if I think he's just maybe coming in again here.
What's our time limit?
Sorry, I'm back again.
We're at 3.5 hours now, Mr. Keshe.
Okay, carry on. So this is the reason for oxidization, why elements oxidize. It's a connection between the gaseous part and the solid part of the planet. And it has to be accepted by both sides once you are in the transition time, in the transition position. And the elements, common denominator in the metal state is iron, but in the liquid and the gas state is oxygen. You got to look at it in an overall picture. We looked at, okay, we are on Earth. Even atoms, even iron, in the matter state of us is still.
Sorry.
We lost you again. Is still in a Gans state of our universe, our solar system. We got used to isolating it because we could define it now, but if you look at the overall, it's the same too.
Sorry, I might have missed your answer. The plasmas, do they combine at this stage, or they still remain as two separate plasmas to create your carbon and oxygen?
No, they're one. It becomes as part of one, but each one has its own position in the total overall plasma. If you look at it, when we have a GANS, it's like an alloy, but a field element addition.
Okay. So it's just adding to the particular field strength at that point on the spiral. Okay.
Yes, please.
And then it will have a. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then we sort of understand. So it's the same with, if I go to, where was the other one? With water as well, it's exactly the same.
The same. If you look at it with the water, I was explaining this to the knowledge seeker. Just 1 second, please. Hello, sorry about that. What I wanted to explain, I was doing this to the knowledge seekers, what they call it, the modules before, is I don't know. Let me, I'm going to share a screen. Or, I don't know. Clean up this one. When you have a H2O, if you look at it, the oxygen is a binder between magnetic gravitational field of the two. When you put the water through a copper GANS, let's put it this way, let's do it in a different way that we understand. Let's say we put it through we put the water through zinc oxide GANS. This is the water originally. We put it through a zinc oxide GANS, which is green. The atom stays like this, but now the electrons gap increases. The distance gap is the strength of the copper. If you look at it on the atomic structure, but not in the plasma. In the plasma, it's about the same in a different way. So if you put now, let's say zinc, you have this. This is the oxygen, but now the spacing is this. The strength according. If you look at it in the plasma state, it's totally different. In the plasma state, this is here. This is here. It's a space gap distance. You see, it's very, very a small difference. That's why when we put CO2 and zinc oxide always goes on top of the water. It floats. It creates a bigger magnetical field, so it creates a bigger space gap. That's how the filtering works. That's why when you put water in different liquids, you take the characteristic of that element's gases, and it homogenizes all the oxygens have that space gap difference. This is the magnetic field, gravitational field, plasma positioning. That's why your water carries the memory of the what do you call it, copper or a zinc. It fixes the energy in the plasma. If you look at it on an atomic level, on atomic molecular structure, are fixed. The two oxygens stay in that position. Cannot change because everything has elevated at the same time in a balanced position. The same goes on the spiral of the energy transfer. What is it for?
On your example, you have the water with the copper and the zinc.
Pardon? Can you speak a bit louder, please?
Sorry. The example with the copper and the zinc and the distance there you've created. Now, when you have the same water with copper and zinc and CH3 all mixed together,
then it decides this is the gap, for example. But don't forget here, we decide on the same tree. The oxygen holds in plasma its own position. The hydrogen holds its own position for the, let's say, CO2. The other one holds its position for Cu, and the other one holds its position for zinc oxide. In plasma, we work on the same fields because they have a common denominator which the distance gap them from it. This is just what I explained just now. That was the reason I explained it. Here, all the zinc, let's say this is the hydrogen, it has a gravitational magnetic field strength inside it, which is in respect to, let's say, the center of universe. Then the other one to the center of galaxy. There's another one which is to do with the center of solar system, which is the sun. And then at the same time, it has a spiral which connects itself to the center of the core, the plasma, which is part of. And that zinc sits here in this spiral. Sorry, the hydrogen sits there, copper sits there, and zinc sits here. Because they all have gravitational magnetically have to position themselves from the center. You have to think continuously in totality in a plasma, but we have the beauty of we can explain it in a matter state that you can understand, but you have to translate the information back into plasma condition. I have a very enthusiastic motion shaking head. Yes, you understand?
so at each point on that spiral, you have another spiral.
Yes, that's what it is. One plasma attached to another plasma according to the central strength. This is the knowledge of the science of the plasma. We have to accept it. We have to understand it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Mr. Keshe? Hello, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, speaking.
Good day, it's Jalal.
Hi, Salat. First of all, you're going to have a Ramadan. When is the end of Ramadan?
I think Sunday.
Sunday. A happy Eid.
Thank you very much.
All the Muslims.
I hope for all the humanity. Mr. Keshe, I have a question and I have a wish, and I would like to thank you to answer my question and wishing
Your wishes
time.
are with God. Maybe I can answer you scientific.
I know that, sir. Um, question: I managed to split the wire of the pen, and my question: if what is the difference if I tip them in guns or without guns? What is the difference in that?
Let me explain to you something. I've explained this before. In the measurement research we've done in atomic, when we take the pen out and we only use gas water, we see higher by 1 point in alkalineness. When you put nano-coated material inside the pen, you create an attraction. It's natural. The pin itself is nano-coated. It absorbs energy, so it reduces the strength of the, what do you call it, the pen or the nanomaterial. We have tested it, and when you produce paint pens without central pin, you have much more effective system.
And when you split the wire, gravitational magnetical.
Yeah, it's a black material. You put a nano coating, and nanomaterial are absorbent. That's why they're black. So you absorb some of the energy inside. You saturate the layers, so you reduce the strength. We noticed this is part of we are now we are entering clinical research in conjunction with FDA. That all these things will go through clinical research with the full data done by the FDA, independent of the Keshe Foundation. We supply the materials to the scientists they appoint, and they have appointed the first 2 for different researchers of the foundation. And this is one of the things we found out initially. The data from our system explains to us or tells us that when you put a nanomaterial inside the pen, the strength reduces, which is natural, which is normal. All the materials we're producing huge number of pens for Ghana. These are all liquid. We don't use pins anymore. First of all, it's more effective. Secondly, it's cheaper. You just have to make gas material. We have a Buddha.
Good, thank you, sir. I have one wish. I have one
Yes.
wish to say. I wish because we all connected and we all one. So I wish the people that they open the channel for the awareness, because the awareness is there. It's only we need to listen. And I wish all the Muslims all over the world just listen. Just open this channel and listen. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. A happy Eid to you and the whole Islamic nation. The process is simple. If you start understanding more and more about the GANs, you have to understand that you cannot play in 2 houses unless you want a specific effect. You play with the GANs, you play with nanomaterials, or you play with the matter state, or you play with the GANs liquid. When you interact them, mix them, you have to understand who is playing what game and in what strength is absorbed.
Mr. Keshe?
Yes, it's very strange. Where is Azar?
I am Aza. No, I'm joking because I have some question today.
Yes, Lisa.
Yes, I'm Ruthie. So
Yes,
yeah. So some Taiwanese sent me some picture of they made the medical unit, and they are designed in another way. So they hope you can give them some suggestion. Can I show the picture to you?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
No, that's okay.
So basically, he used this glass tube. This is glass tube, and this is the PVC board, and to make this they have some other from different. Oh, sorry. Here.
Yes.
Yeah. It's basically just like this, and
This is
he.
amazing.
Yeah, he just think they can put gas or gas water or even a pan inside it. And some part or maybe can be can move. I mean like a rail, and you can adjust the height. And basically the original design is 180 centimeter. But he want to make a smaller one, maybe 150 centimeter. So he don't know which one is better, the bigger one or the.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean
Go
the
one
height.
picture backwards. Go one picture backwards, please.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry.
No.
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 Yeah. This one or this one?
Back. Yeah. Okay. No. The other one. The other one.
This one?
Yeah. Okay. He's got all the tubes are exactly the same length.
Yeah.
Different length.
Yeah. I think it's the same length.
Yeah. And so what does he do? He's put different gases in each tube.
Yeah, he just want to put because this one you can choose which kind of gas in which part of the of this kind. And yeah,
Genius. All the Taiwanese genius.
because they are the third person. They want to connect with the source. They are so helpful.
Actually, it's a combination of pens. I presume if you stick it to the body at certain points, you have a direct contact, or you can just sandwich the man inside. It's like acupuncture sticks.
Yes, his idea is that also you can select to use the acupuncture, but I mean that will need to adjustment because the people's height is different. You can have higher, shorter, or taller, and then I believe if you need this to be played like acupuncture, that's needed to be moved. So I think this but this idea is good, but yeah, but also how to uh, combine all this. I mean, which gas you put in which part, and that's also
Then you gotta
big
go to
knowledge.
the doctors. Go to the doctor. I think Dr. Rodriguez will enjoy this one.
Yeah. So you think it's a great idea?
It's a great idea, but it depends how we're going to use it, how it's going to be used. It's fantastic. It's very simple to make, and it's just a platform with a lot of holes on it. You can stick it anywhere you like. As the pain is liver, kidney, height doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
Klaus, this is a fantastic system. You got to speak to the Taiwanese. Very easy, just drill holes in a panel. And you fill up the mixture as you have per patient, per what do you call it, disease.
Show it in the medical teaching, Ruthie, next Wednesday.
Okay, so maybe I can talk with the guys who design. Maybe I try to, if you have some question, I try to ask him and bring back the message together.
No, it's a very interesting, it's a very, very simple but extremely effective.
That's great. So he just want to know if he's in the right direction.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Because right now he said this design.
We need to see more because it's amazing what we see and the things which are coming up.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
There is something which I explained before and is overlooked. Now looking at this, I explain again. Can I have a screen? And then
Yeah.
I explain. I'm going to show you this. For those of you who are taking this very much a step further, I remember talking about this some times ago. If I can get the page. What we see, this, if you make literally a container where you can fill this and change it disease by disease, or you make it the steps that you create dimensional flow, either one side to another. You walk into a box, if you look at it from the top, it's like this. Where you can fill with different ratio and you create it. It's exactly like the CO2 boxes we make. These are fully operational. You can do anything we like. You can add pieces into it, drop something in it and increase the field or reduce it. But if you can make a good balance of CO2, CH3, zinc oxide and copper oxide and stand inside it, you'll find total balance in all the energies of the body. Those, for example, if you have a broken leg and you can add the calcium in it to be the part of it, you'll find the healing very rapid. I spoke about this some times ago and it's forgotten. Nobody ever tried it. You put scans in totality, you walk into, it's like a bimia biscotti, but this time it totally balances the whole body. Any disease you can walk in and walk out with it.
How about I'm
I don't
Angela.
know how you get the door open up, but you can make a hinge to get them in and get them out. Or make your walls, it doesn't matter, but you can change.
I think Paul had something similar with hoops around it that, and he had cables and a pulley that you could hoist the whole apparatus up. Someone could sit in the middle and then you lower it down over them.
I can't remember, I haven't seen. We talked about this a year ago, a couple of years ago. Goes back into the medical teaching, how to balance the body. Very, very easy to do. It's like a water tank, so you can make it very thin, but you walk in, you decide the mixture for what it is, and you can literally, especially for cases like cancer, it changes the body. You walk in, you increase the zinc oxide in a way, you change the total emotion of the whole body. Within hours, you should walk away without any cancer.
How about to make this container maybe just with CO2 and zinc water, and like you said, a balance between copper and CH3. But in a case,
You
for
mean like
example,
this, we have everything. Pardon?
in the case maybe you showed us with the broken bone, maybe we can simplify it a little bit and just add calcium patches on the side of the body with the broken leg, but the mixture can remain the same. I don't know.
I looked at this, yeah, but I looked at this mainly for chemotherapy. Extraction of the energy from is a side effect of chemotherapy. I make machines, I used to make systems like this for chemotherapy. But with the GANs, it's much easier to do. That's how we could reverse chemotherapy side effects, because we deplete the extra energy through the balance, total balance of every cell of the body finds balance.
Mr. Keshe, speaking of balance, there's a question here from Dimitri about regarding GANS water of tritium and deuterium. What sort of amount of GANS water of tritium and deuterium can we drink?
It's not for drinking.
That's what I thought might be the answer. Okay.
We use it for a space technology and the energy transfer. Tritium is an energy transfer. You don't need to touch it. It just gives to you what you need. You pick up from it.
So you wouldn't want to drink it for the energy. It's
radioactive. It's not radioactive. It's a plasmatic condition, because it gives and it takes what it needs. It has a capacity to exchange with the body what is not needed. It is not a radiation.
Okay, that's clear.
Yeah, have you received the pictures from Caroline yet?
I've got some pictures here, yes, with the GANS reactors and whatnot. Is that what you mean?
It's a spiral bottle.
A spiral bottle. A spiral bottle. I see some copper oxide, zinc oxide, and CH3 GANS making setups.
No,
Is that what you mean?
Bottle. It's a drinking water bottle. No, it's okay. We show it next time.
I don't see that.
It's the breathing system.
No, the waters, the one we drink from, the glass, the 3 glasses.
Just 1 second.
We say in Farsi, the guy who makes the always drinks out of a broken pot.
What was that, Mr. Keshe? You couldn't quite hear.
They said the man who makes the pot always drinks out of a broken pot. He never gets a chance to make something for himself.
Oh, yes. It's like the carpenter's house is never fixed. The mechanic's car is always broken.
What happened with the doctor is always got a, what they call it, broken leg. He never manages to fix it.
Well, there's the higher rate of addictions among doctors in virtually any profession. So
the level of what?
The level of addiction with doctors is very high, and
I
even
presume they test on themselves. They go too high. Clinical trial on themselves first. Okay, we come to an end while we wait.
Yeah,
for
we're pretty much at the end here, I guess.
It has the right trick. The picture is in your file.
Okay, so I see that. Okay, I'll put it on.
You can stop sharing. This is very nice because I think it's beautiful that how balanced GANS has become, especially when you use it in this kind of things. That is not that the GANS doesn't go to the bottom; it sticks on the tube. You see the white. We usually see that it goes to the bottom of the tube, but they don't do that. This one is zinc, one is copper, and one is CH3. For those liquid reactors, these things are perfect. You get a balanced distribution of the fields across the container. This is inside tube. Yes.
This is the zinc, CO2, and CH3, darling.
Yes.
the zinc, CO2, and CH3.
And what are these bottles normally used for, or where can people find them?
Well, no, we just found them by accident. We drink from it. It's very natural.
You can find them. You can find them where they love to make all sorts of ciders and liquors for winter to keep you warm. Like they brew from the fruits and the vegetables and the harvest, and they keep these kind of bottles sometimes in the storage. They have different ones, even with the tap on the bottom. You have to look around to find them.
But it's easy. You drink it, you fill it up, you have your material again. Thank you very much, Caroline. We're coming to an end. I would like to thank everybody, whatever, all the knowledge we shared. Please don't forget, those of you going to court on Monday, mention to the judge, the writer of the contract is Mr. Dirk Lorenz. He has to answer for deception, writing a deceptive contract if it is legally, because he was there claiming he is a criminal offender. And let's see how he defends himself in the court of law. Writing agreements, which is supposed to be by him, we are whatever we are, is the writer of the agreement and the contract. Please go to the court, because it's important for us to stay free from hand of these mischievous behavior. Dirk, I pray for your soul. You walked yourself in a bigger problem now. We sue you for writing the scam contracts as a writer. You're a criminal offender. In trying to set somebody to become a criminal, you have set it up and you're responsible for it. We ask for a court immediately for your consideration as setting up illegal contracts with your brother as a lawyer.
Aye.
Thank you very much indeed. Please go to court. It depends on the whole of the foundation where we go after that. Thank you very much indeed. And do not forget, we need a lot of donation of time, work that can be done. We need a lot of support. And as the Keshe Foundation grows, it needs more and more donation of time and support of knowledge. You have background knowledge which can help us. We will announce more, for the most probably by next week. We employ a large number of African nationals who understand and work with the foundation work. We have trained some in Ghana. We are looking to cover, if you are of Liberian, Togo, Kenya, Nigeria, first line, and understand how to make nanomaterials and understand the work of the foundation, please get in touch with the release of the email we do for setting up the factories of the Keshe Foundation across these nations within the next few months. We need you to be there to teach the workforce. As you understand, we bring you into Ghana to be trained and back and stay home. Thank you very much indeed. Goodbye for today.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Very action-packed show today. There's a lot of information there today for people to go through and to absorb.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
My message again goes to Dr. Paris. Have a nice holiday. Don't eat too much jelly kebab.
Very good. Okay, that brings to a close the 177th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, June 22nd, 2017. And as always, thank you everybody for attending. And we'll see you next week for another session. Okay, I'll end the live stream now.